Tonight on 8.5-bit, some games from the past, some games from now, and some games delayed to the future. Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 271 of 8.5-bit. I'm your host, Paul, and joining me tonight are my good friends, James.
Hello.
And Sam.
Hi.
Hello, boys. Welcome to 2020.
2020.
Which is
2020.
actually the first episode we've recorded this year, because the last two were from last year, and we've had a bit of a gap, and I forgot to release one of them, and that's all good. And the games I mentioned in the intro were none of them are real highlights today. But the thing is, there are highlights. They're just not from now.
No,
And I actually
the old
have
highlights.
I actually have a bunch of games from now. In fact, I've got it very quickly when we get up to them checking buggers, because I forgot to check two of them.
So we have a list of old games and a list of games you might not be able to even say.
Yeah, and then
Awesome.
a bunch of games that are no longer coming out in the near future. Fantastic. How are you boys going?
Doing all right?
Yeah, doing pretty well.
Getting by.
Getting kind of back in the swing.
Got any good stories for me?
I got attacked by my cat.
I don't even does the story stop being interesting after that fact, or was there?
No,
that
was
the
that
story.
is actually the
It's
story.
the whole story.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to think. Of
What a
other
tale he
stories.
spins.
Went to a funeral.
Was it a
very
good
nice.
funeral?
It was a good funeral. It was a grandmother-in-law funeral. Went well.
As well as
other
funerals
story?
can.
I actually generally like funerals.
Yeah. This was a good one. I think especially because it was like she was old. You know,
It
everyone
wasn't
kind of
like
expected
an
it.
unexpected sudden thing.
And like I've never been to a burial funeral before, and there was something kind of nice about, you know, there's the casket, and you know, putting into the ground. I was one of the pole bearers. What are they called?
Pallbearers,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was one of them. You know, watching it go into the ground and everything. It's cathartic.
Bit of
So
nice
lighter than
closure.
the CRT monitor, you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I had the help of 5 other people. So
So you never been to a Viking funeral?
no.
The awkwardness when no one can hit the raft. It just starts going into the
Firing
drain.
arrows willy-nilly.
Don't do that on the Brisbane River. It's a mess. I had a student at work say that they lost their rabbit on the holidays,
Oh.
which is always sad to lose a pet. And they're like, oh, how old was the rabbit? He goes, oh, 8. And then I'm like, I don't know how
Is that a good rabbit age?
That's not bad for
I'm
a
like,
rabbit.
that sounds like an all right
pretty
age.
good.
It wasn't. He goes, oh yeah, it was fine. I'm like, good. I didn't want to.
They're like parrots that live for like 80 years or something like that.
Man, what if you didn't like your parrot?
They're an investment.
Yeah.
Did you tell them that they're now no longer committing a crime by having a rabbit?
How convenient.
Yes, I did not ask about their licensing in Queensland. Yes, and what other dead pet stories? I was starting to think about what will the age of my son be when my 2 beautiful dogs die.
We'd have to go down that line.
I'm like, oh God, will he be developed?
At what point will you have to learn about it?
Yeah. Will he be developed enough? Because man, when my first dog died, that tore me up, and I was relatively old. I think I was like 16 or so. So anyway, enough of the pets. Let's talk about some video games. And boy howdy, do I have a long list of games that I spent not enough time playing to actually give assessments of tonight, because I've actually not really been into games in the last few weeks. I kind of feel like I'm about to... I was at the point where I'm almost like, maybe I'm done with games for now. Maybe I need to take a break. Maybe I need to just do something else.
You do play a lot of games.
Work on the house and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Or just go and just slowly play things and appreciate them more. And because nothing was grabbing me. But now, because a few things that I've been playing the last few days are good. I've been doing a lot of VR. VR has been like, it's just kind of like, it's a different kind of game time now.
Yeah.
Like, because I do exercise.
It doesn't
in
feel
the
like
morning,
normal
right?
gaming.
Yeah. It's like I go like, got it. I got 5 minutes. Going to play a round of Beat Saber, and that's what, because I have my Oculus Quest, Visuals for nerds.
And I have
And
an Oculus Quest. And Sam's...
got lost
And
in...
you're a non-Quest
I think this one's mine, actually.
Oh, yeah,
so-
yeah, there you
yeah.
go. So James
Paul,
bought
can
one
I
because
hold your
thanks for
Quest?
that.
James can't
Thanks for the
stand
birthday
Paul to
present,
have something
James.
nice that he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
have.
I don't want
That's
Paul
how
to
it
feel
works.
special. And
Yeah.
now Paul doesn't feel special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
I never truly feel special. So I think because we don't need to gush over the Quest in itself too much because we did that last time, I think.
Yeah.
But what it really has, the immediacy of that VR experience is enough that I really like. I was boiling some pasta for dinner. I'm like, go play around Beat Saber, played a song, put it down, pasta boiled. Done.
What I've found interesting about this is that there's been a bit of exploration on trying to figure out what exactly I want out of VR. So I've been kind of buying different games. Like one of them, I'll talk about it a bit more later, like Asgards Wrath.
I think VRchat. I'm gonna make an executive decision. We put it later in the episode because we'll finish this conversation here, but onto the actual games because I think people that aren't into VR fucking hate people talking about VR.
Yeah.
So
not this again.
I more just want to talk generally about.
Just generally. Yeah. I wasn't cutting off your current thoughts. I was just being, we'll get to the games later. Yeah.
And so it's been this interesting kind of adventure of discovery of like what about this thing do I like, because like I've had a VR headset for a while. Like I've had the Windows mixed reality Lenovo Explorer thing, and that is actually it's a good headset. Like it's a good experience given the age of the tech,
and the price you paid,
and the price $100 I paid for it. But yeah, it's just been finding what I like, and I've been finding that the more meatier experiences, like the lengthier things, just don't really grab me.
Yeah.
I've given them a go. I jump into them and I can play them for like half an hour up to an hour, but it's like I don't want to keep playing. Where I find something much shorter, like say Pistol Whip, like I put it on and I might only play it for like 20 minutes or 10 minutes. But while I've got it on, like I feel much more immersed. Like I feel like it's giving me what I want. And I've started, now that I've been playing a fair bit of it, I'm kind of getting more used to it. I'm starting to feel like it's starting to feel less like I've got a headset on my face. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit more immersed in the whole experience. Especially noticed it when I was playing Pistol Whip. Like I just had like these moments when I was playing it where I was kind of forgetting that I was somewhere else. Like I was like, oh no, as far as I was concerned, I was in this game. And I think it's taken me a while to get there, and there's only some games that do it. Where if I'm playing something which is trying to be a more meaty thing, like Asgard's Wrath, I'm very aware, like, I'm fighting it to get around.
Stop talking about Asgard's Wrath.
Anyway, yeah.
You're fine.
But yeah, anyway, we'll talk more about
slowly
specifics.
training your brain to be somewhere else.
But yeah, it's been
It's been an interesting
experience. Yeah.
That's why while I've been doing a lot of it, I also said I've been playing less games, even though I've been playing that daily. Because it's just it's not traditional gaming.
Yeah.
It's almost.
It feels like
partly part of my exercise routine.
It feels like to me,
Not really on
it's a
purpose.
new.
That and Ring Fit, you've got things locked down.
So last night, because I have a fitness tracker these days, and I've got to do 125 exercise minutes a day and a certain amount of like high heart rate minutes. And last night I look at my watch and it's 4 minutes to midnight, and I'm 3 minutes under. I'm just like, with fucking Beat Saber, just got an expert song, just like it's like yes, and I've got 1 point already for today.
Yeah, whoever gamified the whole exercise thing deserves a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, because it's one of those things. Like, I'm not into it. Like, I'm not like trying to hit it. It's a general thing that I like, because I normally just hit it with my normal routine every day anyway. But if I'm a little bit under, I'll make sure I get over it.
So, like I've been doing Spanish for a while now.
Yeah.
With Duolingo, it has made me secretly very competitive with people who don't know that I'm being competitive.
Oh.
So, because like I have friends and family that are using it, and I can see the leaderboards.
Oh god.
And so I can see like how much I've done like this week, this month, and an all time. And there's certain people where like they're a little bit ahead of me, but I'm doing more every day.
Oh yeah.
So like I can see myself creeping, like I
get.
get like it's like, oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna be the better language
This
learner.
is the Super Meat Boy leaderboards of language.
It works.
See, I wonder if I get Oculus friends, because I don't really have two, and like Beat Saber, because I've straight up I've just turned on no fail mode.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, especially since I'm showing it to a lot of people, and most when you. Beat Saber's a known quantity. You can go here, fine. I'm overriding my own rule for a second. Sorry,
Everyone loves
because I'm sure it's more that I'm showing it off to people, and people don't. People just avoid the bass songs. They don't want it. They want all the custom songs, and I can't veto what's like a good chart or not. So
Yeah.
just leave it on normal. You're new. Put it on easy maybe. And for some reason at this party, everyone just put on Boston's More Than a Feeling, and they said it's not normal. I'm watching their arms going everywhere. I'm like, that doesn't look normal. I don't know what you're doing, but I think that chart's wrong. Anyway.
Yeah, I found Beat Saber, the demo has been a good thing to show randoms.
Yeah.
Because I haven't bought Beat Saber because I've already bought it on Steam and I've got myself a link cable now, so I don't really want to spend $50 on it again.
You got Pistol Whip. That's
And I
just
got
Beat
Pistol
Saber
Whip.
with guns.
Yeah. But I found like just even that demo is really great. Just to like there's been some people now that I've got the mobile thing, the shared workspace, where I've just gone, all right, who wants to try VR? And people have never tried it before, and that quest is so good for just like people who have never experienced it before.
I wonder if you can put custom songs in the demo of Beat Saber.
Oh,
if you could,
Just-
that seems very
it's
wrong.
just basically the full game at that point.
That
Yeah.
feels cheating.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move off VR. We'll come back to VR. But big releases. There haven't been a lot of big releases so far this year. One just kind of came out yesterday, which is Kentucky Route Zero finally released, TV edition. I have not played any Kentucky Route Zero beforehand, so it's all new to me. And this will be very short because I've played, I don't know, an hour maybe. But of course, because I've played an hour of Kentucky Route Zero, that means I've played an hour of a game that came out 7 years ago. Because only the 5th game is the new one, which completes the series. And so if I was talking about it too much, I'm really just talking about an old game that everybody knows anyway, which is part of why today is all old games. But I'm playing it on Switch. And what's nice is that, so as far as the port goes, it does everything I want. When I push a button thinking like, it'd be nice if they put this in as a feature, it's there. If I touch the screen wanting mouse control, it's there. It's just done. It looks sweet. It sounds really great. The game so far, I really, really like, and
So
I feel is
is
something that's pulling me back into playing more games.
Is it an adventure game?
Yes, so it's sort of an adventure game, sort of a walking simulator, sort of visual novel. The main thing is, so you're basically a delivery driver. This is the beginning premise. You're trying to deliver, I can't remember what you're delivering at the moment, a package you don't know where the address is, and you sort of stop and ask for directions and say, oh, well, the only way you can get there is through Route Zero, which is kind of like a weird, backwards, surrealist world, sort of to access different planes of existence or something. I don't really know. I'm not into that bit yet. It's just all spooky. So what makes it a bit different is when you go up, there's dialogue options, but you don't. The dialogue option isn't you necessarily responding to something. It's you choosing where the story is going to go. So the first thing that it sort of says to you is like, "Oh, nice dog," and you can say, "His name is Homer, her name is I can't remember something," or "It's just following me." So your choices shape what the story is, not you just responding to dialogue and making a choice. It's like, so there's other points where like a character's on the phone talking, and what you say dictates what that phone call they're having actually is. So they could be having a number of different phone calls, but you get to select what kind of phone call it is.
I am surprised I haven't heard of that mechanic before. Like, I'm just trying to think of other games, and there are some things like maybe
It's all response based.
maybe like KOTOR 2 I think has a bit of that, with like your choices determine where you go a bit.
There's a few moments in
but not as like
Disco that sort of do it, but not
yeah,
really.
like it's not like a common mechanic.
Yeah,
It's proactive choices, whereas
Yeah.
most games are reactive.
Reactive,
Right?
Yeah, which I like that.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's mostly about presentation, and the presentation is off the fucking chart. Like, and apparently it just gets better and better, because this is a game that's taken the overall development's like 10 years. It's crazy for a 2D side-scrolling weird thing. And the game I'm playing at the moment, as I say, is 7 years old, and it's kind of cool. And I'm just told that they get better at doing it as they go along. So I'm finding it so far very slick and very enjoyable and very well written. And the people that are fans are like, it looks like shit and it's badly written at the beginning. You wait till it gets good. I can't wait. Okay. It's going to be really interesting. It's also broken up into really short chapters so far. Like literally one of the chapters I think took 20 seconds. They're like, what? Again, we got the next chapter already? What the hell? I just walked through. Which means it's very good for the portable play as well. We'll see how it changes, how the pacing goes. And that's why I can't really comment on the whole game. As I say, I'm playing a game from 7 years ago. I don't know what the current game is. But it's been surprising so far. just does little things. Like it does a lot of zooming in and zooming out of the scene, and then fading in different elements. And one of the ones I left this house, and you walk out, and it does so many quality of life things. So when you walk up this little hill, and you're driving it. You can drive in the game, so you're driving the character up, and get up to the house, have the conversation. But then when you walk out of the house, there's a button you can click to walk back down the hill. You don't have to manually walk down the hill. It's like, no. That's no fun. When you're going up, you're revealing something. You know what the hill is now. But then, as I go down the hill, I'm there at my truck, my delivery truck, and then the camera starts pulling out a little bit more. I start seeing shadowy figures on there. And then suddenly music starts. And they're not so much shadowy figures as they are like a country band singing a song that's diegetic in the scene. They're just watching me and playing a song. And I just sat there for a few minutes listening to the music like, I'll move on now. And then the whole thing's structured on an actual roadmap, which you physically sort of drive around and you discover things. And if it's a scene that they want to do, but they don't, like it's not important, so they don't want to animate it, you just pull over and there's just a text. It just pops up and describes the scene in text. And as I'm playing it, I'm going, where the water tastes like wine? You guys fucked up so bad because there was already a game in existence that does what you wanted, but does it in a really enjoyable way, and it's all cohesive and tied together. And like people give you physical directions, and you just follow the roadmap. It's not hard, but it's just you're doing action in it. It's really good so far.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I say I'm way too early to say overall. It's got enough praise over the years that I think if you're into it, you'll be into it. But I think it's safe with a purchase. But yeah, the TV edition is really well done.
How much?
I think it was just under 30.
Okay.
So I think there might have been like a 10% discount to buy it early or something. So maybe like 27. But for a game that's relatively sizable. And I think it'll be really interesting at the end to watch what changed in the development and the developers that were writing it over that time. Because that's a big chunk of someone's life. It's like you're not the same person at the end of that development cycle that you were at the beginning. And whilst there's other games that have 10-year cycles, other games aren't linear. It's like you don't develop the first part, then the next part, then the next. It's like, oh, well, I developed that one 5 years ago and this one 3 years ago. It's like, no, it's very unique.
Because it was released episodically, wasn't it?
Yeah. The fifth one's finally come out. And considering, I think people telling me the first episode's only like 90 minutes long, and then they get a bit longer as they go along, but don't know how much yet. So it's like people were obsessed about these games.
Is there much, is it like a visual novel kind of thing, or is there actually a game in there?
Well, there's like adventure game.
So there's puzzles and
like
things.
I haven't had any puzzles yet, but it's more about experiencing the story and crafting the story and making choice and exploring. There's quite a lot of exploration in the game so far. So we'll see. I'll have to report back overall, but it's pulling me back into wanting to play games again at the moment, more traditional games. Okay. I was thinking about running through some news, but was there anything big that you guys wanted, like things that were really grabbing you in the last few weeks, or anything that you wanted to discuss?
Really just the Quest, but we'll talk a bit
you'll
more
get
about
more
later.
Quest later.
I've just spent far too much time playing one game and finishing some very old games. So
Okay. Well, shall we news first and then
might as well,
because there is some fun news. Let's start with the not fun but fine news.
Is it the top of that list, Paul?
No, we're skipping that. We'll come back to that. We have a number of delays. So first up, they delayed Final Fantasy VII and the Avengers. Both games got delayed until later this year. Final Fantasy VII only got a month delay, wasn't it?
Yes, but do you know the date it got delayed to?
It got delayed to...
It's Good Friday.
Good Friday, yes.
Yeah, so anyone who bought physical editions is going to have some fun.
Yeah.
Because shops are closed.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean...
It'll be like an 11:30 p.m.
Yeah, probably will do it.
EB.
Someone will do a weird thing. And the Avengers till September 4th, and both those that were not small one on Final Fantasy VII that happens. Whatever that had to a little bit more time.
Half expected it from that. Really,
yeah. The Avengers. I don't think anyone's really shocked at that being delayed. I'm delayed. It's not delayed all the way into next gen because it would seem
by all the reports of it from the demos and stuff. Seems very.
The thing that did you play it?
I didn't play the demo, but I've seen a lot.
You've played it as well, haven't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm the only one that's played it, and it played fine. It was like up and down, but generally it was a game. But also what I was playing wasn't new. It was at that point at least a year and a half, 2 years old. So, but no one seems to know what the full game is, what the shape of it is. So yeah,
that's what I gathered. Like,
it feels like
a lot of structure there.
Yeah, it feels like there's some big problems there.
Or maybe they don't know. I mean, if
there's
the
a
whole
lot
game,
of fingers in that pie.
Yeah, if the whole game was like the demo that you were playing, this is weird and disjointed. Like,
Yeah. And then how does that work? Because it's primarily pitched as a multiplayer game, which that the story missions can't be. So anyway, then everyone was like, "Oh well, they've moved it out of the way," which gave us more time for Cyberpunk, which they then delayed
significantly.
So,
it's pretty big, chunky.
no, I mean about the
7
same as
months,
Avengers.
but-
Yeah, about that.
I think there was a lot more marketing for Cyberpunk.
Yes,
That was like.
that's the only thing that made me slightly surprised.
Yeah, like when I say late in the game, considering how much money they've spent on marketing.
I liked the same day it was delayed, JB Hi-Fi put up like someone had done one of those big hand-drawn banners, like, "Oh, I've spent like a few days drawing this, and here it is with the date proudly displayed," and everyone's response was just like, "Sorry to tell you."
Whoops.
Timing. Yeah, so Cyberpunk's delayed, but also, I mean, most people understand that
fine
that's an
with that.
incredibly ambitious game, and we'd rather have a complete game than one that's
I
half.
am not in a rush.
It's one of those things where I know with the delay is actually going to make it better in the end. Whereas a lot of things you look at, you go, "You're delaying this, and I'm still unsure." Whereas I know that the next 6 months that it's been delayed is going to be
The
they're gonna
most
put in their
interesting
all.
thing is going to be what it's going to do with the next gen jump. So
Yeah, 'cause
Microsoft has been on the record saying that all the stuff like is going to run on both consoles. Oh shit, that's something to talk
yeah,
about.
no, that is a big one. That was Microsoft's next gen game.
Let's not get into it yet.
It's been written down.
It's a thing. It's a thing to talk about. Yeah, kind of yes and kind of no.
More exclamation points from Paul. There we go. Yeah, so it's going to be forwards compatible. Whether that means that'll be particularly enhanced, take advantage of new stuff, we don't know. Sony as well have indicated, but not. I don't think they've been on the record saying that it'll be forwards compatible on that. But again, not
Heavy
enhancement or
implication.
yeah. Whether we'll get like a Assassin's Creed situation where you bought it last gen and you can get an upgrade for $10 or something, we shall see. Because I think the only thing I would imagine they'd want to avoid is the problem of people not buying it on release because if I wait
it's
next
gonna
month, I
come
can
out
get
to next
the
gen.
I can get the super version, and then it eats into their day one sales, which is maybe not that important for CD Projekt Red because they're basically like
They do their own thing.
They do their own thing and they play the long game. But at least because they're not publishing in the West, are they?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, at least not the console version. So I'm sure their publishers wouldn't be a fan of that. So yeah, kind of like eating their own sales because they're so close to next gen. But we'll see. That wasn't the end of delays though. Iron Man VR got delayed to May 15. We were all waiting for that. Yeah. Apparently it's quite good. I haven't played it.
I played the demo at PAX.
Yeah, did you enjoy it?
It was quite good.
Cool.
Did you feel like Iron Man?
Yeah, it had some clever use of like the way that you propel yourself forward is actually put your hands down and palms out. So, you do what you'd expect to fly as Iron Man and you kind of use your head to steer.
But would you rather play it on PSVR or Quest?
Oh, Quest.
Yeah. Sony exclusive, man.
Yeah.
Got to get them Sonys. I mean, I'm still going to... My PSVR is not unused. It just doesn't compare. But then, of course, the one that then struck me the deepest, because I was like, well, with all these out of the way, that'll give Paul time to play Dying Light 2, which is also delayed indefinitely at the moment.
Indefinitely.
Yeah, well, they're not saying that it's in trouble, but they're like, we don't have a projected
We're not going to give you a
date.
new date.
Yeah, they also
We
did
might
not have an
need
existing date. They only had like a window for it to go
They
in.
moved the window.
And they're like, now the window's away. It's further away. What does that mean? It's also a really ambitious game. I kind of don't want it to be too ambitious. It's like, I just kind of want my climbing zombie beating game. I don't want a game that I'm supposed to pour hundreds of hours into like level up all this shit and collect craft. I mean, it's going to be crafting and shit everywhere and stuff that Paul doesn't necessarily want. The first game had crafting. I just mean I don't want the ratios to be in my favor. I didn't have to play that long to get the grappling hook.
That's all that mattered, wasn't it?
Still
As
didn't
far
get
as
that
I
grappling hook.
heard.
That's because as soon as I got the grappling hook and you didn't, you're like, fuck this
I'm
game.
out.
You never played again. Because Paul can't have nice things.
Well,
that
I
you
was
don't have.
watching you with the grappling hook. Like, oh, we're going to get over to here. Off goes Paul.
You made me promise to stop using the grappling. No, you didn't make me promise. You were getting grumpy. I'm like, what if I stop using the grappling hook? I wasn't that far ahead of you. But yes, So that's delayed also. Okay, and also Half-Life Alyx has not been delayed.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
Yes. That would surprise me if it delays. Because it seemed that
So it's a pretty
they
big...
announced it when they've already finished
Yeah,
the
I
game.
feel like it's done and just
Yeah.
someone's got to hit a button.
Yes.
Oh, they
yes.
what it
sold.
is.
They sold a lot of indexes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least in
It
the
did the
US,
job.
Index and Quest basically sold out immediately. We could get them because they still had Australian stock.
Yeah.
And everything, but yeah, I mean, and that is
And link cables are
that is
going
what
out
pushed
now.
me over the edge.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be interesting because both you and I have said that we kind of like the shorter experiences.
Mm.
So when someone is doing a bigger experience,
Yeah, I don't know.
It will be interesting to see if it is chunked in some way.
Yeah,
'Cause I feel like Valve's VR knowledge, as it were, like considering how much they've pushed into it already, they surely have an awareness that
Yeah,
shorter is
I
better.
guess like if Alyx ends up being
'Cause
a
if
bunch
you
of
look at,
like their Portal experiences,
Yeah.
and it's a string of those,
yeah,
I'd probably be pretty happy with that.
because if you look at is it budget cuts, right? It's their main VR thing. It's not technically Valve, but it's
oh, okay. No,
they had their fingers in there.
I was thinking their labs.
And the lab
Yeah,
stuff,
lab's the one I was thinking
like
of, yeah.
all of the stuff that Valve's dipped their fingers into VR wise has been short experience, or at least chaptered.
But they're also
experience.
their big push in this is that it's a
But-
full-fledged game that's as long as
Yeah.
Half-Life 2.
So it'll be interesting
But then
to see
also-
where the balance is.
Half-Life, and especially Half-Life 2,
It is
is
chunked.
a
It's
game that's chunked
chaptered.
to begin with.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it is, Half-Life 2 is 4 or 5 games just bookend next to each other. So it'll be interesting to see. Okay, let's talk about the thing that I have written down as MS bullshit, because I like hyperbole. So Microsoft came out with one of the most interesting strategies I've ever seen for next gen. And they said, all of our first-party games, we can keep it at first-party. So for at least the next 2 years, all first-party games that we release on the Xbox X, what even I can't remember what's actually called Series X.
Series X, yeah.
Will also play on the Xbox One.
The launch Xbox One.
Yes. So
I am not sure how I feel about this.
I am greatly disappointed by this. Well, all it does to me, unless there's some, and if there is some wild third-party stuff, it's not going to be exclusive anyway. So all it does say to me is that I do not need an Xbox Series X.
But I don't know if Microsoft cares.
I don't know. No, they don't.
I think
no.
what Microsoft cares about is you having that Game Pass subscription.
Yes,
That's all
which
they
they certainly have me hooked in at the moment.
and-
I've got Plague Tale Innocence waiting to play right now.
If they suddenly have a Game Pass having games that people can't play, what does that do for Game Pass? If Halo comes out and it's like, oh, new Halo, what is it, Infinity, whatever it's called,
Infinite,
Infinite comes out, and it's like, oh, but you can only play on this new thing. All these people that got into Game Pass suddenly can't play it.
See,
So I kind of, if you look at Game Pass as that's Microsoft's next gen console, kind of makes sense.
like it makes sense to me because basically your audience is going to be bigger on the previous console than the new one.
Yeah.
Immediately, that's always the truth. Except the other card that they have had, and we were kind of expecting, because for the whole time we've been talking about playing Xbox Series X games before it was called that on the last console, but we were all like, via streaming. It's like because they have a streaming
cloud
solution
system,
that works
yeah.
pretty well, and they're undoubtedly going to push that a little bit more. It'll probably just be rolled into Game Pass Ultimate or something, but we'll see what their business strategy is with it. But all it means is that they can't make any games that gameplay wise take advantage of more power.
Yeah. So I guess you like in the case you've got like of the PS5 where you've got they're demonstrating what they can achieve with the fast read speed.
Yeah.
And they had the Spider-Man game where you could just stream incredibly fast. Yeah, you can't do that. Like, it's like they've deliberately hamstrung themselves. No one's launched a game like this before.
All it's done is moved the line too.
it's so-
Right? Like it's not like they're changing anything. They've just gone, we're releasing the hardware 2 years before it matters, effectively.
Yeah, basically. And it's
They've
so
just moved that point of like, at what point do I need to upgrade?
I was the Series X probably was unlikely to get me to buy it at launch anyway because I have a decent PC.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, I'll probably get a PS5 because PlayStation will have exclusives and they'll be upgrading the experience with the PSVR and everything, which I enjoy. And I don't have a Pro anyway, so it'll let me do the Pro things on that, allegedly. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed yet. So great. But yeah, it's made their console... I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't sell that great. Now,
I
it
don't
may
think
not
will,
matter.
and I don't think it
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
don't think it
trick,
necessarily
right?
matters.
Yeah.
But it might matter to shareholders and shit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could
'Cause
matter
they-
to them.
yeah.
Yeah, it's what they've done is they've just torn up the book on console
On
release.
how it works.
They
yeah.
basically said we're releasing a new phone.
Yeah. Here's new hardware.
Yeah, like, here we go.
If you want it, you can have it.
Here's your Xbox, whatever. You can still keep playing other stuff. You want to run the thing at 30 frames at 720p.
It would be-
you go for it.
It would be very funny if all it needed to do on the Xbox One was run. So it's like, oh yeah,
The very bare minimum
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah, you
it
can-
loads, it works.
you can
it's
load
5
it.
frames a second.
yeah. It runs at 120p. It's fucking
Because
it's the worst thing you've
We
ever
never
seen.
told you
but
how well
works.
it was going to
Yeah.
work.
I don't have it on the list, but I played a bit of Breakpoint.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Breakpoint. Yeah. I got it as a birthday present. And I've been playing it on Xbox One Classic.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, that thing's showing its age. Like,
I only just got one.
it's showing
the
its
side of a
age off
road.
the side of a road. Like, it's playable. It's
It's
fine.
barely used.
Yeah.
Did
But-
I tell you about the one account that existed on that
Yeah.
Xbox? Yeah, 5 gamer points.
But yeah, like it's aging, that thing. So yeah, I don't know if I call it bullshit. It's certainly interesting what they're doing.
It does disappoint. 'cause
different.
It really just means to me that none of these launch titles that they're pushing can be particularly
not-
revolutionary in the way that they're
They're
structured.
not particularly next gen anymore. That's the thing.
Yeah,
right?
they're
Like,
just-
you can't think of them as next gen.
Yeah, they're just enhanced gen.
Yeah.
And we've already had a round
Mm.
of enhanced gen, which none of them managed to convince me was worth buying. Because I was just like, well, I could just wait a few more years and get the real enhanced thing. And Microsoft said, nah, sorry, Paul.
It's all your fault, Paul.
Yes. So in other industry news, so this year PS5, we're all very
Yeah.
excited. So we've been all waiting for E3 where they were
Yeah.
going to show it off. And we'll see. So Sony not coming to
Nope.
E3.
Does this
They
mean they're
said-
just doing their thing on the side?
well, they'll be doing something on the side. In fact, the rumor is it'll actually be announced early February.
Okay.
There is supposed to be some kind of news coming next month, right?
Yes. Well, there's a few leaks that come from a few more reliable sources, but they're still leaks and they're still rumors. So the rumor is, I think it's for February 5th or something like relatively early. There'll be a PlayStation event in New York where they will reveal the PS5, not just the stupid logo like they do with CES.
Yeah.
Who could have guessed?
Yeah. Wow. Looks exactly like I didn't think it would.
And at that, not only will they reveal the PS5 and some games along with it, of which there's some mixed rumors on what those are, they will also be announcing Horizon Zero Dawn for PC and potentially Dreams for PC, which will really bring in a new era of Sony's strategy with game releases. And the other rumor I heard regarding that was Sony is apparently talking to developers that they're working with, and when they're working on games for the PS5, one of the messages that they've been spreading around is keep the PC version in mind.
Okay.
So they are shifting things a little bit.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, as I said, this is all rumors. This could
Potentially,
all
yeah,
be
it's
complete
all
bullshit.
bullshit.
February 5 comes,
I
nothing
mean,
comes
they
out.
could
It's
be-
actually called the PSX, and like, I mean, it's not. We've seen it's PS5, but you know. And they can't call it the PSV because they've got the Vita, and it'll just confuse the bloody the stock list. Can't do that. Yeah, so that we'll see if that comes to pass because that'll only be a week and a bit
Yeah,
at
it's
this
not that
point.
long away. It is.
Yeah, so I'd be excited to see what they've got, and if they do end up supporting PC more, because they've done. So Horizon Zero Dawn seems like it's a lock-in.
It
There's
should be. 'cause
so
it's-
much information
I mean,
about it, and they've
and
just
we know the engine
yeah,
works.
they've just ported the engine for
Yeah.
Death Stranding. So if they've done that
They might-
work,
they might
they
as
may as
well.
well. Yeah. So that will be very interesting. Okay. So yeah, but what's E3 going to be now?
Yeah.
Microsoft has its own theater next door, so it's kind of separated anyway. It's still part of the ESA. Sony's still part of the ESA, but they're not doing anything with anyone. It's a public event that has nothing good for the public at
It's
it.
starting to slowly break down.
It was my
I
dream.
mean, it was breaking
as a
down last
teenager.
year as well.
Yeah.
So it's
They got
more of that.
they reformed. They basically try to steal some of PAX's lunch. It's like compared to like Gamescom, they
Yeah.
don't. Then size wise, they don't even compare.
Mm.
It's like I think it's basically the end of the era of what E3 is, and they certainly haven't been doing particularly good public facing, and they've really been fucking up professionally when they like leaked everyone's details and everything last year, which I've heard more repercussions of that, of people completely having to uproot their lives and redo because the amount of I can't remember who it was. It was someone that was like a moderately successful YouTuber, not even a big person, and their response was like, "Yeah, if I turned on my phone, I would get like 1,000 messages in a minute, and it was all. And some of them were just from my fans saying, "Oh, I saw this leaked. I hope you're all right." It's like you're not fucking helping the situation.
You're part of the problem right now.
Yeah. So, good old ESA. Okay, other news. I've already said the Horizon Zero. Frog Fractions Game of the Decade Edition is coming to Steam, which is actually a very good thing because Frog Fractions is a web-based game, which I think was Flash.
Yeah, it was.
I just hope they've hidden Frog Fractions 3 in it.
That would be good, yeah. So this actually will make the game more preserved
wasn't
for future.
3 already a thing that was found?
Well, 3 was 2.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
2. That's
Because,
right, yeah.
because 2
Yeah,
was the
that's right.
ARG that led to 3.
That's right.
yeah.
I remember
So technically we're up for Frog Fractions 4.
Yeah.
Although we may have played that several years ago before they made Frog Fractions 1.
God, I really hope that we keep getting Frog Fractions.
And here's the summary of Frog Fractions for everyone. If you don't know what we're talking about,
Good.
play Frog Fractions
play
and
it.
don't
Yeah.
look up what it is.
Yes.
Frog Fractions is a very fun game. Frog Fractions 2/3 is a also
What was an experience?
yeah. It's more of a game.
Yeah.
And it's very good too.
Yes.
Cool. GTA 4 no longer exists on Steam and I don't believe is purchasable anywhere on PC.
It's all on,
Fun.
not even on the Rockstar.
Not even on the Rockstar
Oh,
launcher.
yeah.
See, the
It's
problem
not
is
purchasable.
it used Games for Windows Live.
Mhm.
So because that's been shut down, they can't generate keys for it anymore. Now, I understand.
Rockstar.
There wasn't much warning about this.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, they only like was it 10 years ago they said they were shutting it down?
Yeah.
So something like they've only had about 10 years to fix this. And Rockstar is a small indie studio without
you
many
can't
resources.
expect them to
Like,
be able to do this kind of
I
They've
mean,
only got so many
sure,
hands.
practically every other fucking game that this related to fixed this problem years ago without any particular hassle. Sure, they did it, but how could a Rockstar, the small, struggling company that survives only by getting huge grants from the government, fuck them for that. And all the tax they pay as well. Oh, just get it. Yeah. They struggle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That.
if
Well,
you
I've got my
made your way
copy.
through this sarcasm,
I've got. I
you're
guess
welcome to the other side.
I'm pretty sure I've got a copy on Steam.
Yeah, I've got a copy.
So I mean, I'm all right. Not that I'd ever really play. Can I still load it up?
Yeah. If it
Okay.
exists, if you've got a functional key, you've got a functional. They just can't generate
Yeah.
new keys, so they can't sell anymore.
See, from a tech standpoint, I've never really understood the premise of keys being like running out
Yeah.
in the age we live in, where they are a randomly generated string in a database somewhere.
Yeah. There's.
Well,
there's
I
an
don't understand the premise that you cannot have any.
Well, I guess they're being generated by the Microsoft service.
Yeah.
Maybe. But you think you
But
just change
it's-
the authenticator in the algorithm and
The tech somewhere at the end of the day is there is a string of numbers and letters. It is a version of the game, and it is assigned to someone's account. Done.
That's why I just sit on Steam every night, just going 111111111. Damn. 1111111
But like, not even just in this scenario where they can't generate anymore, but there's like, we're a company where Steam's not being able to sell a game for a while because they don't have enough keys.
see, I could see there might be some stuff where they have to get approval to generate a certain number.
Is there a whole business
There
side
can be
of this where,
there's
like,
publishing
the
deals and stuff
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you might say you can put like 100,000
Yeah.
on Steam, and then they might be able to use 100,000, and then
that's it.
it's like,
They have to
well,
ask for
I have
more.
to, it could be that. Like, I don't think it's a
It
technical
just
limitation.
seems really weird to me.
Every time I find a game on Steam that you can't buy but has people that bought it, I'm like, oh, how do I buy it? And I'm going on a wild goose chase to find who has keys. I've got one on my list at the moment. I'm very excited to go find it.
Is there like a big list of stuff that's being delisted from Steam?
There is, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of stuff that's delisted, which always makes me excited.
Yeah.
It's how I live my life. Okay, let's get on to at the top there, the Pokemons.
Yes.
So
There's
there
a
was
couple of Pokemon news.
there was a poke. Yeah. I guess you can do more than one.
Yeah, because I added it on there with the link and everything.
I'm
today.
I'm never clicking that
It's-
link.
It's modern news, Paul.
Look,
News from weeks ago.
This underlined
Okay.
hyperlink here, even though it's paper, I'm going to color it black so it's no
I can
longer
do both
a
of them
hyperlink.
so quickly.
Oh, how quickly can you do it?
Pokemon Sword and Shield's getting DLC. A bunch of people got mad because it's stuff that should be in the real game, but it looks like a good way to do things.
Okay.
Instead of a third game.
Can we just rephrase it to because they feel it should be in the base game?
Yes, they feel that it should have been in the base game.
I feel like there
But
was a lot of
also-
content in the base game.
There was, and there is it looks like there's a lot of content in the DLC.
And so
And it
okay,
is
so they're getting
instead of doing a third version.
the new
which
version.
is the better way to handle this.
I thought it was interesting though. So for someone that is a Pokemon fiend, I'm going to class you under Pokemon
sure.
fiend.
Go ahead.
So it saves you money because it's the 2 DLC packs. They come out at 60 Australian.
I think I paid 45 when I.
But okay, for 40. So yeah, less than a full price game to get the 2 packs. Now the person that was the crafty Zoidberg consumer that never bought the first game and only bought the souped up hyper version in the next year.
Yes, they're the ones that have been screwed.
They have to buy the base game and the DLC
yeah.
pack. But I wouldn't be surprised if when it comes out they do a package.
There already is
anyway.
one.
Oh, is there?
There already is a joint pack on the eShop.
But
Yeah.
I think
it comes out to slightly less than buying the two separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of assume there'll be a
Which
physical
makes
one,
sense.
which will probably just be released at regular price.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like them just doing DLC
Yeah.
instead. They're adding each one has like a new region with new stories.
So each DLC is a whole new region, a whole new storyline, which I'm interested to see how they handle as far as level balance, since it's coming
so far after.
being added to a game where people probably now have level 100 teams. So there may be some weirdness there.
I'm not. I
They're
don't
adding
think
200
Pokemon.
more.
Yeah, I don't think
Pokemon?
Pokemon Company cares about if the game is too easy for people.
No, probably
I
not.
don't think it's ever been a priority for them.
So, how does this compare to the amount of content that's normally in the Plus editions?
To the majority of the Plus editions, so when you go right back to Yellow and then Emerald and Pearl and all that, there's way more content because those were just rehashes of the game with maybe a tiny little bit extra story or a slightly different storyline. You look at a lot of people don't treat
Normally, there's a new hat.
yeah. Black and White 2 were a massive change from that because a lot of people don't even treat those as being a third version of a game. They are sequels. They are.
Yeah, I was going to assume Black and White 2.
Black and White
was
2
a-
were new
a sequel,
storylines.
Yeah.
And then there's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which were the same game plus another bunch, like few hours extra content and a whole new post game, like section and features and mechanics. So it's similar, I believe, from what I've seen to what they did with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but instead of having to play the whole game again, you just go straight into the DLC bit.
So they sort of got the new. So there's like one of them's an island, one of them's like a snowy area.
Yeah,
isn't it?
so the way I've seen it is one is based on Ireland, the country, and one is effectively the British Isles / more Scotland.
Okay, cool.
It's like island stuff and then a snowy tundra.
And then there's
that-
new public areas in that as well. aren't
No,
there?
the entire DLC.
The entire thing is public area?
Open map.
Cool.
Which is a lot of people are like, well, the whole game should have been that.
And
But,
and to clarify something on bringing back the old Pokemon, so they're adding another 200.
there are
Pokemon
another
to it.
200 from
So
the old ones into
whilst
these DLC.
whilst you can't catch them in the base game,
You can still
the
get
original
them through
game still
trades.
patches, and you can
Then we trade.
You get them through
you can
trades,
trade
yeah.
through that.
So
So
if you don't get the DLC,
yeah.
you can still get all the ones they've added through trading and through Pokemon
yeah,
Home.
which is the sort of thing the people that are complaining, it's like it should have been in the base game. It's like, well, it is actually being added
There's
to the
no
base game.
paywall to all the stuff they're
Yeah,
adding
yeah.
in that respect. It's just the actual story content that's
Okay,
being
so on the
paywalled.
DLC side, was there anything else that we missed?
Don't believe so. It just looks real good.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
couple of new
it's
legendaries.
Is it like 6 months between each one?
Yeah, I think the first is April and the second is sometime in autumn.
Okay.
American autumn.
Cool.
So, spring.
And then the other one that you've done here.
So yeah, so today, this morning, there was no announcement. They just put out a blog post about Pokemon Home, which is slated to come out next month, which is their replacement for the bank system for the Switch. But it's not. It's a Switch app, as it were, and it's a mobile app. It is a full Pokemon Bank for storage. It is a trade system, global trade system, where you can I want to put up this specific one, and I want X Pokemon. I want a Pikachu for all this, and it won't trade until someone trades you a Pikachu. Has a friends list on there. You can trade with friends. You can set up a room to trade with up to 20 other random people in a room at once. You can check all the stats, abilities. It's a full Pokedex. It's everything.
Is it
in an
free?
app? It has a free version
Yeah.
that's limited.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is $16 a year or $3 a month.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay.
And the limit is basically if you're on the free version, you can't transfer any Pokemon from Bank, so from the DS games, into it.
Mm-hmm.
So only for Switch. You're limited to 60 Pokemon stored, which basically makes it pointless to do, and you're limited in how many you can have up for trading at any given time.
Not pointless for me. I've never even caught 60 Pokemon.
But it's
He
doing
just keeps talking. He
everything.
doesn't even acknowledge me.
Yeah, pretty much.
My
It's
headphones
doing
are so
everything
broken,
I
it looks so
expected.
weird.
It's doing everything I expected them to do
Yeah.
with this whole thing.
So will this support the whole?
Yeah, so you
Pokédex?
can
Or is it the national
it
dex? Is that what
it
it's
has
called?
the national dex,
Yeah.
and you can transfer everything from Pokemon Bank, which is the DS storage that they had, which was also a paid thing. And people seem to forget that when they get angry about this. So basically your entire history of all the DS games all the way back through, all those people that have been bringing the teams through, that can all be shifted to home. Once it's shifted to home from a DS, it can't be shifted back.
Yeah. So this is
it's
going to
one
be
way.
the new thing.
This is the new thing.
Yeah, and because of the limited Pokemon that are in the Switch version,
Yes.
you can't play with them all.
Correct.
So if I transfer
it is
over,
storage for anything that's not in the current games.
okay, all right. So presumably then,
But
future games,
if they have ones that aren't in Sword and Shield,
They
you can
will,
push them
yeah,
across.
yeah.
So the other way it works is you can transfer from Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. Once they're out of that game, you can't transfer them back in because of the way the stats are different. You can transfer between them. They are adding in the ability to transfer from Pokemon Go as well at some stage, but
Okay.
again, not the other way.
You just can't go back to.
And
Go.
then Sword and Shield is just freeform both ways, as long as it's in the Sword and Shield
Yeah.
Pokédex. And I'm assuming that's what it'll be for any future games in the series.
Interesting.
The one thing I expect them to do at some point is also add a battle system at some stage far down the line, because it seems to be turning into this is the core of where you have this is your Pokédex. The games are the story and all that nonsense.
And they just keep all going back into the. Yeah,
So
okay.
you get a Pokemon game release. Here's all your story. You play through, do the gyms, funnel all your Pokemon into bank or home now. Sorry, and that's where it sits. And you can still do everything there, all the trading and all that nonsense. It's a good move, and if you do look at the link,
I just give him the dead space.
every time I look at Paul, I'm like, God damn it!
Just
If you do look at the link, it is like
I will
it's
not.
it's Mon UI. It looks like a well-designed app.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like something that's come from
I think
Nintendo, to be honest. as
I
far
really
as
like the
mobile.
idea.
And it is. It's
And
a phone
I
app.
don't know
It's
if,
mobile.
If people will be less mad about a particular game only having a subset, if it's like, oh well, I still have all my Pokemons.
Yeah.
I just for this particular
this
version,
game, I can
can't-
only use
can't
these
use
ones.
it,
Yeah.
which isn't a bad thing because it's all right. Now I'm going to pull out the other ones and I can play with them. I can always go back and play the old one if I want to, take those ones out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that'll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that it because by all reports it was just going to be a thing on the Switch. It's just going to be Pokebank for the Switch. But the fact that it's come out and it's actually a mobile app means it's also easier from a community standpoint. Like, it's just on your phone. If you want to trade with someone, it's just on your phone. Everyone's got a phone with them.
I like that Paul.
So if you're meeting up with people who play Pokemon, it's easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Paul is drawing over the top of the URL in
That's great.
black.
That's all right.
To
It can't be clicked
We're
on
done
paper.
now.
Super Smash Brothers! So, in other Nintendo-related news, we finally got the last fighter in the
We
first
did.
DLC
Yeah.
fighter pack announced. What they said, it was going to be another shocking surprise from a never-seen-before game before thing, which is not quite what they said about this. They said it earlier, and people remembered it because it wasn't true. Because what is it? It's another Fire Emblem character with a sword.
Not just a sword.
So
great.
when it started up and they're like, it's Byleth, I'm like, I don't know what a Byleth is, but that's fine. This is an anime-looking man with black clothes.
I feel like they could have gone out on a better character.
Yeah.
there's
they could've.
conspiracy theories on why.
Oh really?
So they bring it up and it is a Fire Emblem sword character, and they go out and they get their ass kicked and they come back and they're like. The trailer explaining it literally goes like, "Oh no, another sword character."
Yeah, too many swords. I watched it live, and right up until they started actually showing off the character in play in game, like Sakurai playing as Byleth, I was just waiting for the double take of it being fake
Being a
and
fake
someone
out.
else coming in. It just didn't happen.
So what's the conspiracy?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get so I mean, we don't need to go into every fighting thing. So they do differentiate slightly in that all of its specials. You actually have the three
the
weapons that
different
represent the different houses. You got lance, axe, and a bow. And when they actually went into how it plays, It does have some
it's
interesting
different.
ideas.
There's some
It does
new mechanics
play.
in there.
They got distinctly 3 houses like level that goes through, and there's a bit of fan service there, and the good music and all. Blah 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 blah. It seems fun. Oh, and because there's 2 versions of Violet, you can play as a woman, and the woman has very nice stockings,
Yeah,
which
she
makes
does.
me very happy as a pervert. So it seems fine, but it's not exciting. I don't think anyone saw this and went yippee.
I saw it and went, makes sense.
So, the day it was scheduled, and the day that it was also the day that DMC2 was coming out on Switch, and they were teasing all these DMC announcements and everything. So everyone's feeling this is conspiracy theory. I have absolutely nothing to back this up.
No, but 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Everyone was expecting Dante,
Yeah.
but they also announced Season 2 pack, and the
6 more.
and 6 more characters. It's going to take till 2021 until they are all done. So the theory was that it was going to be Dante up until quite late in it, and this was one they were working on for the first pack. Because when they first announced this pack, they said that all the characters were going to be unexpected characters from new series that haven't been before and stuff like that. And up until this point, that has been true. So the theory was that they downplayed the last one so that they can, for the first one or the next one, have one ready that is a surprise and get people excited
So
to
we
buy
can
the
finally
new
get
season
our
pass.
Leisure Suit Larry.
That would be amazing. I have no reason to believe that is actually true, but that is the conspiracy theory which
been
you
some
asked
interesting points to maybe back it up.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it is, and Sakurai doing another Fire Emblem character. Fire Emblem is his favorite series. It's like
There's been a few things too. Like he mentioned, like because the development time on these is
quite
very
long.
skewed compared to when we're seeing the information.
Yeah.
The direct for it was filmed in November. And we didn't see it till January.
yeah.
He was working on it before Fire Emblem Three Houses came out. There was a whole spiel during the direct. Like he was saying, he had like 3 days to play a beta version of Three Houses to get a feel for who the character was.
I
Which
feel
is not long enough.
There was it when they announced Terry and he's doing his talk and it gets up because he always has this very charming sitting down playing the character thing. He's like, you may see nothing's really changed. That's because I'm filming this the day after the last one I filmed, even though it was 3 months apart. It's like, so it's all
There's a lot of
all
like,
up in the air, and
skewed timeline.
I'm sure they can grab and chop and change them.
He has come out and said that like I saw it quoted somewhere that he has said that at the end of the day, it's like even though it's his game and all that, it's Nintendo's decision on who comes out when, as far as the fighters are concerned. Like he has maybe a say in it, but at the end of the day, he doesn't make the decision.
I think at the end of the day, it looks like it probably plays fine, but I am
looks
disappointed to see another just anime guy with a sword.
But it might as well be renamed to Fire Emblem Smash at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
there is a
other
lot
than
of Fire
straight,
Emblem
like,
characters.
straight up Mario, like the Mario universe, which stands into multiple IPs and everything like that. Okay, that has the most, and then
It's getting very
and then it's Fire Emblem, then it's Pokemon,
almost
and then
the
there's just
same
weird
now.
one-offs. Yeah, it's like Fire Emblem does. I mean, it has.
But
its
there's a
big
lot of
fans.
Fire Emblem games.
There's a lot of Fire Emblem, but also I think they all mostly cross over with the. It's just the Venn diagram is just a circle of Fire Emblem fans. Did you like this Fire Emblem? Then you like this one as well. It doesn't really spread out much past that. Whereas like mainline
all the protagonists
Mario
look the
stuff,
same.
that could be any genre.
Do you think
and
they'll
all
do
sorts of things
the
in.
ring, the ring fit,
The ring fit.
ring fit
Oh,
as a character?
I think they'll probably do the ring from Ring Fit as like an assist.
I want to know. I want a character.
That'd be good. How would you play the ring?
With the
No, no,
ring.
no,
They should
no,
add
no,
the dragon. Yes.
The dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bodybuilding
The
dragon.
bodybuilding dragon should
yeah,
be a
yeah,
character.
yeah.
Unless they're too big to put into Smash.
No, you can. Yeah. Okay. And then the only other bit of news we had was they had an announcement of Torchlight 3, which isn't quite a new game. It's
Frontiers pivoting,
yeah.
right?
yeah,
it's a pivot.
it's Torchlight Frontiers, which was their free-to-play
Free to
MMO.
play current Arc, I think, was the company they're going to publish with.
Yeah.
It really makes me wonder what happened because like I don't know how much funding they received from the other company to make this happen, and what happened internally for them to be able to say, "Oh,
No, let's just
No.
make more
'Cause
of the
I-
the stuff we're good at.
I'm not sure, but I think you could play Frontier, couldn't you?
It's an
thing
alpha.
you could be in?
It's
There
an
was an
alpha.
alpha, yeah.
And I think
And the general
no one gave a shit.
well, maybe that was it. Maybe they're just like in its form, people were like, and so it's like, well, people don't want that game. Let's just make a premium standalone thing that you buy.
I thought it was really interesting because I am impatient when I watch videos. and it started. I'm like, intro logo, click, 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 forward, 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 forward. Someone talking forward, 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 forward. I just want to see the game. Forward, forward, forward. Get to the game. Okay. And he's saying, so we made this pivot into a premium game, which means you pay once and you get the game. But I'd forgotten that Frontiers
That's not the
exist.
normal
yeah.
anymore.
And I'm like, that's just a game. What are you talking about?
not anymore, Paul. We're not in the
Yeah.
days of that anymore.
I bought Kentucky Route Zero 7 years after it
the
did its first
outlier.
thing.
But it's cool. Like I'm glad it's just going to be a once-off. I just buy it.
Torchlight 1
Yeah.
and 2 were both very good
Yeah.
ARPGs.
Yeah.
Like-
So it's going to be free of any kind of bullshit. It's just going to be a good
And as
video
long as
game.
they come out in the next 3 years, they'll beat Diablo 4.
Yeah, which is pretty much
or
the
four,
goal.
three or four.
Okay, into more games. Sam,
Yes,
why don't you tell us about Noita?
I've been playing a lot of it. Far too much of it, one would say.
I don't know what it is.
Noita is if you take Powder Toy, which is the silly little web app thing where you play around with different powder substances or mortar and liquids. It's a fluid physics
Yeah.
Oh,
simulation.
okay, all right.
Physics
It
particle
is a small
system
box
thing.
that's a physics
Yep,
particle
gotcha.
system.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
take that and you whack it in with Terraria and Dead Cells and
Oh.
make it a game.
I like both those things.
It is a beautifully pixel-arted roguelite that looks, at first glance, like it's Terraria. And it is... Their pitch is that every single pixel is physics simulated. Which so far has been fairly true.
Well, yeah, okay.
And
I can-
I watched some of the development, a couple of the GDC talks about how they've managed it and all the tech behind it and stuff like that.
So
But-
just to pivot here for a second, James. Noita 2, every single voxel is physics.
Wow.
I'm
so
in.
it is the team that brought us Barbara As You, which
Oh,
hooked me in
the
slightly.
game that almost destroyed my relationship. Yeah.
No, we're as strong as ever.
And what they have done is they've made a roguelite that is very much about exploration and trying things out. You are a witch, which is what Noita actually is. It's Finnish for witch. And you start the game and you're at the top of a hole into the ground. And you have a couple of wands that can cast a spell each. One of them casts just a magic missile type thing. One of them drops a bomb on the ground. And that's it. You go down into the underground. And it's roguelite, so it's randomly generated. There's random pickups of wands and stuff.
Is this on
It's on,
Switch?
it's not yet. It's in early access at the moment.
Yeah, because like
I believe it will come to Switch. And when it does, I will have fun.
Enjoy your 15 frames a second
It runs very smoothly.
on your
For what it
modern
is
PC.
on my not very modern PC.
Remember,
that
he has a
can't
broken
run
PC.
things
Ah,
very
okay.
well.
I'd be-
It's
It can do
beautiful.
everything except maths.
There's a lot of good, like watching the tech
Yeah.
behind it. They've done a lot of work. to
I'd
make
be
it
very
run
curious
nicely
to
out.
know how it works.
So the premise behind the argument, every pixel physics simulator, is that every pixel in the world has a state and it is a material.
Yeah.
Everything from water through to the dirt and the stone, it's all labeled, it's all there, and it all has various interactions. It's a big alchemy thing where you've got water. If you heat water up with fire, it generates steam. Steam floats to the top of the room it's in, and then slowly condenses back into water. You've got stuff like toxic mist, acid, whiskey, which catches fire, and flammable oils, flammable wood in the world you can set fire to. There's a lot of interactions between materials, and figuring out what those interactions are is half of the game. The other half is in the spells and the wands, which is your main way of attacking the enemies in the game. You start off with just the base stuff. Every wand has a list of stats, which is like how fast it casts a spell, how long it takes to recharge once you've cast all the spells in the list on that wand, and like how much mana it has and stuff like that. Every spell has a list of stats for that modify the wand stats and also how much mana a spell costs. So to start with, you're like, okay, I've got these two wands, basic attack and a bomb which blows up the ground to get through to different areas. Once you get to the point in the game, and the reason I equate this similar to Dead Cells is that it's effectively done in stages where you get to the bottom of the area you're in and you portal to a middle ground area, which is a shop, a health refresh, and a perk.
Yeah.
Whilst you're in that area, you can modify your wands. You can swap spells in and out of the slots, and you can create your own spells. And there's modifiers as well as new spell projectile types. And there is a lot of things. And I'm still figuring out the logic system behind it. From a programmer brain, I'm trying to figure out how it actually operates, how a cast works. But you can create some crazy stuff. You can go from having just a basic magic missile to having one that then after half a second casts another one that also has a flaming trail that leaves behind fire, that generates a cloud of mist, creates a whole pool of water below you. Like, there is so many interactions, and it's all built around the fact that it's generating more interactions within the world. And it very much feels like a spellcasting version of the logic puzzle that Baba Is You was. It's very much linking things together to create new ideas.
Yeah, but you don't really
That's
die
fun.
in Baba Is You. You just hit the back
No,
button.
yeah, correct. So in this, you die and you reboot.
Yeah. Things explode randomly and you're fuck.
And I think they're still exploring a lot of that, but
Well,
it
how-
already has a pretty big modding community as well, which is nice.
How early access is it?
I believe it initially launched in September. They do a monthly large update, but I play on the beta build, which is effectively almost nightly changes. It already feels like it's strong enough to not be in early access, effectively. Like, there is enough content in here, and I've spoiled myself a bit on some of the exploration and some of the things that exist. There's a lot of bits where you come across something you're like, I don't know what this is. How do I activate this? What does this do? And there's a lot of extra areas that I think you can get to that, like, without going down. It's open like Terraria is. There's a lot of different locations you can just go to. So it already feels like a solid core game. There's probably a few tweaks they could make to enhance it a little bit.
Do they
but
have
it is
an
very
estimated
fun.
time? They're gonna.
I don't think so at the moment. No, I think they're just
Because I have a
when
general
we feel it's ready.
no early access
Yeah.
rule for the most part. Because I'm only going to play a game once.
Yeah.
And why would I want to play it once before it's done?
before it's done.
Yeah.
It
But it
feels like
sounds cool.
it feels like a finished product.
Yeah.
More like it still feels like a little bit like a toy because of that's part of the core premise of it, but it definitely has enough meat in there and enough. It's kept me playing it over and over again.
I sometimes, the thing that sometimes can get me around the other way is that sometimes when a game is in early access and it has a limited set with it, because I know how much I never know. You can never tell whether it's like, but sometimes when it's at the slightly more primitive version is kind of when I actually like the game more. Once it's got all the stuff and all the systems, all the fucking crafting and all shit like that, I'm like, oh no, I actually liked it when you didn't have those systems in there. It was just a game about bungee jumping out of spaceships. I'm gonna roll
That's
it
a good
back.
idea. Write that one down.
Bungee jumping out of
Jumping out of spaceships
That's
with
good.
bungee jumping with no gravity makes no sense.
My one big argument for it, as far as needing improvement, would be that it does fall into the issue that I know Paul especially has with roguelike games, and at the start of every game feels the same until you get into some of picking up new stuff. That whole first area always feels pretty much the same because you've always got the same ones. The one thing I did was install a mod. That means you start with a random loadout. Now it's a new game.
I really think that's the way
It's- you
that
just
they
need to have,
go.
like Enter the Gungeon has the classes you can pick to play as. That's all you need.
I can't. There was something
and yeah, there's
talking.
already a huge community behind it.
Some it doesn't really matter what the roguelike is, but it's a current one that people were playing, and they're saying, yeah, you're getting a perk, like something that modifies what you're playing the game as all the time, constantly. It's constantly giving you things, which is what we fucking want.
Yeah.
It's like when I think back to like Rad last year, which I enjoyed, but the
As soon as
doling
you turn on random loadout and stuff like that.
Well, but it's like it improved it when you did it. But when I thought about it, even once you sort of got, it's like in between you getting those power ups, was so long. And that's what I want out of the game. It's just give more to me. I don't care if it makes the game shorter. I don't give a shit. You know, like the beginning of Binding of Isaac, where you're trying to. It's like, oh, what are my first few perks going to be? What's the first boss going to give me that's going to show? And you're just getting, oh, I got an extra heart. That's not what I wanted. I wanted something cool. I wanted fucking laser eyes.
Yes, Noida has a lot of perks that are very weird.
Yeah,
It's
weird,
not
and weird
the
perks
usual
are good.
normal
Yeah.
stuff. I picked up one. I'm like, I don't know what this does, but it looks cool. And it gave me 8 spider legs,
Oh, nice.
which like attached to the walls as I climbed and
that's
attacked
cool.
enemies.
Yeah.
And part of the base game for it is because you're a witch. You have like your up is a levitate, so you don't jump. You have an energy bar for levitating, for hovering, and picking up the spider leg perk got rid of that, so I couldn't fly anymore. So big open areas became dangerous. Small tight caves were easy because you're just traversing through it. You're just like suspended between these 8 spider legs. There's lots of weird shit like that in there, like a lot. I don't think I've had any run that's ended up looking the same by the time I die, or most of the time I've died. And most of the time I've died, I've killed myself by accident through a stupid spell combination.
So magic.
Yeah,
It
pretty
might
much.
have been someone talking about Hades that said that every time they play, they got a really satisfying build.
Yeah, Hades is very similar.
But that's
yeah.
one I'm
In
just
the
waiting
way
for
that
end of.
works.
I'm waiting for that one to finish.
Because it feels like they've got a real map and they're going
Yeah,
to finish
they've
pretty
been
much on
pushing
day.
out like core updates.
So I'm still stuck on this bungee jumping in space thing. So I was wondering about the physics of it.
Yes.
So if I'm in my spaceship, so no gravity, or it's very little gravity, and I push out. First I thought it'd be bad because you'd go out and then you'd effectively get flung back at the spaceship. But with the conservation of energy, I expect it to be whatever energy I spend pushing out minus whatever is lost in the bungee cord from its stretch through heat and whatever. So I'd come back with less than I pushed off with.
Arguably,
so it probably would... Well, I don't think arguably. I think science says.
Scientifically, yes.
So it actually wouldn't be that bad. It's just whatever force I push off from my spaceship with, I would bounce back with less than that force.
What if
I
there's,
believe so, yeah.
what
Does
if
that
there's
sound
centripetal
right?
force
That
from
sounds
the
right.
ship?
But yeah, also
What if you're
is
not
the
matching
ship,
its rotation? What if it's
No,
is
it's
is the ship holding itself in place?
a static ship? Such a thing cannot exist.
Isn't an immovable object?
No, so you would apply... Yeah, so there'd be some loss...
Pushing off would make the ship move.
Well, but it'd go back.
Yeah.
So there'd be
equally.
some of it pulling back. Oh, okay, a little bit more
And
complicated
then
now.
it's both you and the ship.
Yeah,
pulling on
but
the
there's still the
cord.
total amount of
But
energy,
the energy
though.
is still the same.
But then the mass of the ship... Oh, 'cause
All you have to look at is the energy, I think.
yeah, I think you
At the end of the
overcomplicating
day,
it. It's
you
just
lose energy
there is a
through the
certain amount
cord.
of energy that's pushed and a certain amount of energy coming back, and the energy lost through the cord
Yes.
is all I think anything you give a shit about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it's that
Somewhere
bad.
there is energy lost in that closed
Yeah,
system.
so this has been in the back of my head now for like the last 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good. I'm done. I spoke it out.
Perfect.
Amy's just sending me pornography.
She does that.
Enamel pins for the PS Vita. It's like, ooh,
I
Danganronpa.
can sit around and collect dust just like the PS Vita does.
Oh.
Don't you dare say that. Mine's sitting next to my bed.
The only time I remember the Vita
Hot take.
is when...
Only time you remember the
only
Vita.
time I remember the Vita is when...
You look at your Switch and go like, this is a good Vita.
Right now the Vita... So I've got my bedside table and there's this little like space underneath the top, the top of it, where I can put things. And the Vita is sort of wedged at the back. And every now and then I go to put the Switch in there and it hits something.
What is
And I go,
that?
oh, that's right. There's my Vita collecting dust in the back corner of
Well,
my
at least we both keep our Vitas next to the bed,
It's next
except
to the
mine
bed.
is there for its
play.
valuable use. Okay, admittedly, not much at the moment. And I still haven't been Danganronpa 2, which is now 2.5, 3 years into my playtime. I do plan to finish it eventually. Okay, James, were there any of your non-VR things you wanted to mention in there?
Yeah, I played quite a bit of Graveyard Keeper.
Oh, yeah. What is Graveyard Keeper? Because it didn't look particularly exciting.
So Graveyard Keeper is Stardew Valley with graveyards
For corpses.
for corpses. Yeah, I have not played. I probably played like 2 or 3 hours of it, like a chunk of it, but it's a pretty long game. And it was interesting playing it because when I play it, I feel like, oh, this is Stardew. Like it looks like Stardew, like same perspective.
yeah, very similar.
I'm doing a lot of the same things.
A lot of its marketing was based
A
on
lot of
that, too.
it's Stardew, but you're a graveyard keeper. And my initial response to it was I prefer the theme. Because it's kind of like a dark sense of humor to it. It's
Yeah.
like it starts off with your character dying, and so you kind of wake up and it's like, oh, you have to look after this graveyard. And as far as I can tell so far, the whole idea is you just want to work through this graveyard to earn the right to go back.
Uh-huh.
And so that's sort of what you're trying to do. But doing a lot of the kind of Stardew-y things, where it's like, oh, I got to go chop some wood to get some stuff, to do stuff.
Crafting.
Crafting.
Basically,
My
it's crafting.
favorite.
Yeah, crafting is happening. There's a town to go visit, and I can talk to people and that kind of stuff. But I found after I played it for a few hours, I started seeing some cracks, and it made me appreciate what Stardew does. Because Graveyard Keeper very quickly turned into a list of things I was trying to finish, not a life I was trying to simulate. So like it wasn't like I was talking to anyone because I wanted to forge a relationship, or I wasn't trying to do anything to like just explore. It was more, oh, this objective I want to get a beer or something like that. And it's like, oh, I just want to tick that off. Like it just became about doing the
Doing a
things.
checklist.
Yeah, and to do some things, it's basically a big old chain of stuff to make. And I can't do all of it. So then it became this list of like, oh, I want this, but I have to get this first. And to do that, I got to do this first. And then I got to do this.
The old classic
Figuring out
adventure
the
game
flow
problem
chart.
of just
Yeah.
getting like,
And like-
get this, get this, get this,
Yeah.
get this,
And
and
I
then
think
the chain.
it reached about like the fourth thing deep, where I'm sort of like, yeah, I'm not really. It's gone like, it's not like I'm enjoying just naturally discovering things and then it opening up more options. I'm working backwards. I'm thinking like, oh, I've got to get here. All right, I've got to do this, 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 and this, and this. And like, oh god, this is like. But then I had a point where like I wasn't far enough in the story to do this, so I was blocked, and kind of lost me. And it really made me appreciate how good Stardew is. Like, it's just a well-made game.
Yeah.
I think because I think I played it on. I can't remember if it was Game Pass.
Well, it came out
or
on Humble.
Humble. I think
Yeah,
I got
it
it
was
off Humble.
Humble,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. One of the things which keeps developing video games, I got it on that.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's not. I don't think it's bad. I think this.
Speaking of which,
game they do
EGS
enjoy.
doing another year of free games weekly,
Yeah.
which next week, well, actually should be out by the time we release this. Farming Simulator 19.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it's got VR support.
Yeah.
It does, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy.
Sweet.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
Live
it's
out your wildest dreams.
I can't wait. So yeah, you know,
It's there.
it's there. It's fine. I think someone will enjoy it. I like the theme.
I remember playing it for a little bit
Yeah.
back when it first came out, and like I was like, oh yeah, this is basically a slightly less polished version of Stardew
Yeah.
with corpses, and it's all right, but
Yeah.
I could be playing Stardew instead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, excuse me.
it was a good attempt. I think like it's
Yeah.
at its core, it's still quite
Oh,
good,
It's solid. Like yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a bad game.
but it
It's
definitely has cracks.
because it's made to look like Stardew, and that would have been a deliberate
can't-
choice.
you
You
cannot
cannot do
help
nothing
but
but
compare,
compare it to
yeah.
Stardew. And when you do that, you see the flaws.
Compared to Golf Story.
Yeah, it's better than Golf Story.
Shut up.
Nothing compares to Golf Story. Paul.
Best thing, it has less golf.
Okay. So as I mentioned last week, actually, did we mention last? I don't remember when we did the last show. So I got an Xbox One.
Yeah,
You're free off the
Yeah, it
side
was
of the road.
off
Xbox.
side of the road. Yeah,
Barely used.
Someone next to my barely touched. So I loaded up. Discovered Xbox One has the worst interface I've ever fucking used on anything. It's like, holy shit! I thought people were just impatient. This is unusable. Oh god! Why did I push a button and wait literally 20 seconds for it to respond?
The
What's
best
going
thing
on?
to do is to hook it up to Alexa, because then you just ask Alexa to open things for you.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's got the Connect with it because they threw that as well.
they just threw out
for
the
some
whole
reason.
package.
And yeah, the functions you could do with Connect at launch, you can't do anymore.
Yeah, taking them all out.
But anyway, so I was like, so now I've got an Xbox One and I've got Game Pass Ultimate because I'm currently still on that for a while. So I've got a bunch of access to games. What is on the Xbox that's not on PC that I've been meaning to play? DMC 5. People that played it were like one of the best games of the year, but not that many people played it outside of the core base. Like, I don't mind a bit of DMC now and then. Gonna give it a shot. So, I was thinking about this just before because this might be the game that made me think I don't like games anymore. So, and I don't mean that in an entirely negative way, because there's nothing wrong with this game. This game looks incredibly competently made, and it's got all these systems, and I like systems. I'm more of a Platinum man than the old Capcom, but still, they're similar things and everything. And even Platinum stuff I do tend to tire of before the end. I just started playing this game, and I'm like, I've done this. I've done this like 1,000 times in my life. And I think I'm done. Like, no criticism here, except I've done this walk into a thing, mashing a button, doing a combo, this exact thing, this exact style, this exact feeling. I've had enough of this feeling. We've done it so many times in our lives. I don't think I need it again.
It's been perfected.
And I didn't even get to play up to when they get the other character because it started as it's Virgil? Fuck, I don't remember the spelling of the names now. Anyway, I obviously paid a lot of attention. I got to play with his different robot arms. I'm like, okay, this isn't really that different to anything. And I'm like, so people that are into it, obviously they've already played it. They know that they love it and all that. So it's not a criticism about the game, but except for the fact that it is so traditional in what it is as a video game and how it presents a video game. So what I've been spending most of my time playing in this last thing. So the game I played through from beginning to end was a game I bought for the second time because I bought it for my wife first, but I bought it on the Switch for myself. was Glass Masquerade.
Yay!
It's a jigsaw puzzle with.
Oh,
Did
with,
you have you seen the second one? Is
It's-
one coming soon?
Yeah, I also might end up buying that twice because I also bought it for the wife on her Steam. So I've been playing that a bit. I played a little bit of a weird text adventure thing called Self, which is sort of a multi-choice. Actually does a little bit like Kentucky Road Zero, where you sort of frame the thing by the choices that you make. So it's entirely text and ASCII based on the Switch. It's like really stylish, really chunky graphics. It was a really cheap release, and I was just like, I'll just get in there and play it. What can it hurt? So that's been really interesting in that I can't work out how old my character is. He lives with his mum, and adults beat the shit out of him. But he has to. But they tell him to do his homework, but he goes out on his own with his friends. But his friends seem to be into like really kiddie thing. Like, I don't know. I think I'm 8. It's really weird. But it's obvious. I'm only so far
I
into
mean, it
it.
is called Self. Maybe
Oh,
perhaps not knowing is part of that.
I enjoy the confusion. It's and this again, like as I said, a lot of games that I've been playing, I've only been playing a little bit of, so these aren't full assessments of them or anything. Jim's Moving Out, which is a game I've been eyeballing on the Switch.
Okay, yeah.
And it went on sale. I'm like, finally, I'm getting Jim's Moving Out. Now, Jim's Moving Out, I think, is held back by the fact that I really want it to be the co-op. It is co-op, but I haven't been able to play it co-op. So, your Jim, which is just, I think it's just a square or a triangle, can't quite remember, and you float around inside your house, and you're moving. And so the house is a physics object, including the items inside it.
Oh, you
And
have to push?
And you have to push and drag and navigate through the environment of the house with causing as little damage to the house as possible.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
It's really basic to physics and everything. I'm like, yeah, I could do this. This is cool. I think co-op would really shine in there. So, if there's a blank here, I've cut it out because I can't remember the embargo. I think the full game's out now, so it doesn't matter. I've been playing Willy Jetman. It's an old school side-scrolling platformer where you got a jetpack and you shoot bugs in space, and there's like an upgrade economy, and it actually feels really, really good. Now, this isn't like that's kind of a minor thing. It's just a fun little platform if you do that sort of thing, and it feels good, which is why I point out, because now I've got my list of games that suck. Okay, and two of them.
Like Paul's midlife game crisis. Like
Yeah, we're in it.
like, fuck normal games. I'm playing weird shit.
We've got from, I think I'm done with video games.
Yeah, to
like,
here's a huge list.
Listen, look how excited he is. Look at his
Okay,
face.
let me
How
tell
much
you about
joy
games
and glee.
that suck for the same reasons, despite the fact they're different games. Okay, there was a game called Lumini and a game called Bookbound Brigade.
They
Good
both
name.
sound interesting.
So they both suffer from the same problem. So Bookbound Brigade disappointed me because it was pitched to me like as a platformer crossed with like a word game. Now, I'm into work. Give me some fucking bookworm adventures, man. Get that in there. No, what they mean is, and let's see if you can finish this plotline to me. There's a library with ancient books in it, but there's one very, very important book, and something happens to that book, and
You gotta go collect all the pages.
you've got to collect all the pages of the book. Oh my god! Oh, second only to the colors being sucked out of the world, and you must restore it. What a game! Anyway, so both these games. So Bookbound, it's a side-scrolling platformer. The other one is sort of free-form flying. But both of them you control a swarm, and that's really hard to make feel good because you push, especially in Lumina, you push like, I'll go left.
Swarms are difficult.
And when you won, especially, it's just like, it kind of goes left eventually. And
No, you need a thing to be controlling the thing the swarm follows.
Yeah.
yes,
That's what you need to be controlling.
Yeah. So it feels really sluggish and everything. Now, the Bookbound Brigade one, you're a group of people.
That's a public domain one, isn't it?
Bookbound Brigade,
Yeah,
yes, it
yeah.
is public, very publicly domain. You're all literary characters, and I think there's 5 of you in the group, and you move in a mass. But the game is sort of about then you get different forms, so you can make a tower and go flat or anything like that. But because you're a group, and there's platforming,
Oh god.
often you just fall off fucking platforms all the time because it doesn't feel right. Because where do I jump when I have 6 feet on over 3 different people touching the
Whose
ground?
feet matter?
Yeah, whose feet matter the most? And like, if you want it to feel good, you err on the side of okay, let's be forgiving. But it doesn't. And I play a lot of platformers. I think we can all agree.
Mm-hmm.
I've fallen off so many fucking platforms that aren't even supposed to be hard. I'm just like, I just threw it away. I'm just like, fuck this game, not playing it. So yeah, those games sucked. I think I've got through everything that isn't VR now. Good. Oh no, the other game that made me think I hate video games. Finish Control.
Oh.
You
Okay.
did. You did. Yep.
So I'd stopped just before the ashtray maze,
Yeah.
which I was told like
Oh.
was a highlight of the game. Now I
Yes.
misunderstood. So
Because I think if you go back and look what I said about it, I'm pretty sure I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
said something like it's interesting.
oh no,
or-
it wasn't you saying it was a
Yeah,
highlight.
yeah,
It was other people.
yeah.
And in fact, when I said it to you, you said like, "Oh, I don't know if I'd call it a highlight."
Yeah.
And I'm like, James, this is just one of those Star Wars is just fine comments again. It's like, yeah. So it turns out James was weirdly right both times. So the thing that's good about the ashtray maze isn't the gameplay; it's there's a cool soundtrack. So I'm like, oh,
100%.
okay, I misunderstood. And I think it also highlights so semi spoilers for this later part of the game. I'm just going to describe the gameplay through this area and how it visually looks because it's not. And I'll keep it very short. So I was waiting for this because I was expecting this is going to be where the game's going to really go crazy with its geometry and like basically like anti-chamber and like puzzles and like really. No, it's just a bunch of fucking moving walls. It basically feels like a haunted house. And it's just I'll go into an area, kill the baddies, and then another wall will move, and you keep moving along. Cool soundtrack the whole time. Like, oh, this game for all of its like the oldest house is like this weird thing that transforms into different things and everything. Really, that just ended up being
blocks move.
there's lots of blocks that move about. Isn't it? And at the beginning, they do one thing where they like change, like you go around a corridor and it's not there anymore. That's the only time they do it in the fucking game, basically. I mean, there's kind of one or two other little things like it, but it's not. They don't use it to its potential. It's just a bunch of physical move. It's like Harry Potter 1, that when they made the fucking movie, and they're like. In the books, you read about these staircases,
Yeah,
and
all
you're like,
being
"Oh, the
crazy and
staircases." It's like, "Oh, you don't know where they go." It's like impossible architecture. Like it just
Yeah.
changes. And
The
then when
movie
they
is
turn
just
into a movie, it's
rotating
like,
stairs.
"Oh yeah, it's just a bloody theme park with stairs that move back and forth." Like,
It's stair elevators.
yeah, it's like, do you have no imagination? What's going on here?
There's Escher paintings and everything.
Yeah, it's like you. One of them is hard to visualize, I do admit, but that's kind of the fun of it, isn't it? It's and it's just moving back and forth. Anyway, so I finished Control.
If Labyrinth can do it,
and I
Harry
thought-
Potter
Yeah,
can
that's
do
true.
it.
Yeah, I thought it was very, very boring.
I will say Ashtray Maze was also the highlight of the speedrun, which is my experience of Control,
Oh yeah.
in that it gets entirely skipped by a glitch.
Oh, cool.
A glitch known by the community as Slidey McShooty Gun.
Yay!
Because there's a bug that turns your entire character into just the gun sliding along the ground, and then you
Nice.
clip out of bounds and skip the whole maze.
And also, it's not a maze.
And
It's just
not.
it's just a linear
It is a
corridor.
linear
Yeah.
corridor.
Yeah,
The bit because you can go into it earlier in the game. And it's a bit fun there. It's a bit of fun.
that's when it's most interesting.
yeah. When you actually
Yeah.
go in there when you're supposed
Yeah,
to go in
but
there.
I
it's not interesting at
didn't
all.
mind that point. And there is
Oh,
like
I didn't hate
Yeah.
it, but I wasn't like wow.
and there is a more interesting segment after it.
Is there?
More interesting.
Okay. I must have
I
missed it.
think that Control suffers from them trying to make it a service. Because it's got to be this thing that you got to be able to
Adding
keep
stuff to it,
add to it.
yeah.
It's like no, Control should have just been a thing that you finished, and that was it.
Control story is shit. Its world building is cool.
They have a lot of very cool ideas in there.
Yeah,
That I personally
and there's a
love.
bunch of cool visuals. And here's a semi-spoiler for the last area. Here's an idea. Don't just bake an entire area, especially when there's a bunch of long term, in one color.
No.
Especially when like your enemy designs aren't super unique. Because the only reason I knew there were enemies was they had a health bar, and the only reason I knew which enemy it was because of the amount of bullets it took to kill. I didn't know what I was shooting. There's a bunch of red. The red thing over there. Took one thing out. It was like, oh, it was a mini boss I'd killed earlier in the game. It was like, I didn't even realize I just shot it with my gun a lot of times.
I still had a good time with Control.
Oh yeah, overall I liked it. I
Yeah.
thought the ending is really falls
Yeah,
flat.
I think the ending falls flat.
Yeah.
But I think up until that, it's a pretty fun experience.
Yeah. Oh, I had heaps of fun
Yeah.
with Control, and just when it becomes a gauntlet near the end, it is the least interesting way of engaging
And now
in it.
we finished Game Club.
Yeah,
Well, we
look at
didn't.
that.
We only did
That
half
was-
the game.
That was the end of Game Club right there.
Yeah, there it is. Paul got disappointed at the end, but now we can do the DLCs.
Oh.
Yay.
Well, now Game Club, we got to do. I reckon we need to do Black Mesa Zen.
Yeah,
That's all
I
out.
don't know.
But maybe you don't care.
Let's do Kentucky Route Zero.
All right, do that instead.
But you've already started.
Yeah. Here's an idea. Let's
It
not do
doesn't matter.
gameplay.
Yeah,
Game
James,
Club 'cause it's hard
doesn't
to
matter
organize.
if Paul's
Yeah, it's
ahead.
finished. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So I think that's. I'm gonna let the committee decide whether I rag on that
No.
game. I don't.
No.
Okay.
Let's just not.
I'll rag on it another time.
You can rag on it later.
Yeah, I'll rag on it in private.
I played I played a bit of Frostpunk finally.
Oh, yes. How
'cause-
much did you get to play?
Probably maybe 2 or 3 hours of it,
that's significant.
because it came to Game Pass, and I've been eyeing up Frostpunk for a while because there's a Frostpunk, the survival city builder. I guess a little bit like Banished,
A little bit, yeah.
but even smaller scope. But idea that you've got a small community, you can build, and the idea is to survive. And in Frostpunk, you are the last city, or one of the last bastions of civilization from whatever kind of frosty apocalypse has happened to the world during the Industrial Revolution. The basic idea. I've really enjoyed so far the general building and the pacing of it. Like, I like that it's like a radial building system. And so, the idea is you've got to have heat, and you can you have your warmest part being the center, but also the smallest part. So it's sort of like you want to kind of keep things in the middle. You can build outside
It's an
of the
interesting
cold.
play on the resource management side of things.
You can
for
build
sure.
outside of the cold, and that's fine. Or the warm, but then if the temperature drops, which it does, it goes up and down, you can be a bit fucked. And then you got to I've got to build some extra heaters, but then I'm burning more coal, but now my coal's going down. So the basic building part I liked. What I thought was really cool was the way it gives the way it frames the moral decisions, because they really give pause when you have the question of, well, do we let kids work in the kitchens? I'm like, someone's got to, I need some workers.
Someone's got to peel those potatoes.
Because if the kids are working in the kitchens, it's a pretty safe job, then...
But their smaller bodies are more suited to the mines.
they can go off, they can go work in the mine. They can go salvage as well. They can go pick stuff up and bring it back. It's okay. But when presented with that choice, it sometimes in a game when they have these hard decisions, it'll be like the morality system of do you want to make the bad choice or the good choice? Where in this one, it's more well, would James make that decision to make kids work in the kitchen? Yeah, probably. And the slippery slope begins.
Does it mean they're out of my hair? Because that does sound good.
And then something else, I like that things build off that. So then there'll be another decision down the line where it's this mum doesn't want the kid to go work to salvage today because the kid says that she's sick. Do I let her not go to work today? The answer is no. I don't want to set a precedent. Got to go work. Humans, survival is in peril. It's the framing works so well that when it does bring in these questions of survival, it's not the case of, am I going to be the the evil leader, or am I going to be the good leader? Because I can understand.
Am I going to be the living leader or the dead
tough
leader?
choice am I making
it's
here?
because if I be the good leader and that kid doesn't go in, it's well, what precedent am I setting?
Then the colony doesn't survive.
Yeah,
But
I think
is it then a colony worth saving?
Yeah.
This is a lot of dilemma.
Yeah, it has things do you want to let people have burials? It's you can do that, but now people aren't working for a day. They're but hope is higher. People are happier. Because we have to worry about morale and things like that, and you can make unpopular decisions. So you end up with this. It's almost
Cannibalism.
capital of how many bad decisions can I make. So I ended up being the kind of leader was you can have a pub. Because if you have a pub, you're happy. And then when I say, all right, now kids can go work in the mines, you kind of let it slide.
Because you've got a beer.
And those kids are drunk all the time.
Maybe in my town, I'm going to legalize dueling, which means that maybe people will die in a brawl, but there'll be less brawls. Yeah. It's you think people just normally get into a little duel and stop. It's not so... Good game, actually, and also, visually the game looks phenomenal as well. Just you zoom right in, you can see all the little people sitting in there, cold. I eventually extended the work hours because I got to get coal. I really
need more.
It's on Game Pass. I love Game Pass.
Game Pass is good.
It's so good. Yeah, good game. Frostpunk.
So
worth checking out.
I just brought up on my phone before because I skipped past it so quickly.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you what Willy Jetman looks like. It's a cool old PC.
It looks like something I threw together in Game Maker 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's rad.
And I was not that old 20 years ago.
Willy Jetman's cool. Actually, it's a real solid thing. It's nothing. It doesn't seem to be anything stand out, but I am actually having fun with it.
I've member of like the DOS Facebook groups. And,
Who
you know,
isn't?
Oh, they're so good. I love it so much. I almost buy so many games when people are selling off their box copies.
I'm like, why would I spend $80 on this, Paul?
Like-
and inside I'm like, but then I would have it.
It's like, that's a box copy of King's Quest V, like a really nice box copy for like $60. Like,
No way could you get a nice box copy of King's Quest V for 60.
it was okay. It wasn't nice.
What grade is it?
It'd be like a B.
Oh, okay.
It's all right.
I don't know what any of these things mean. Not as good as an A.
But
That's all I know.
It has got me thinking about the kind of games I played as a kid. Like just from when you were showing me that, kind of got me thinking at it. And I have fond memories of things like
Captain Comic.
and Hocus Pocus and
Monster Bash.
And the Fly Swat game, whatever it was called. And like
I think Fly Swatter. Was
well, yeah, I think it was called Fly Swatter. No,
What?
Superfly. It's called Superfly.
Oh, Superfly.
Superfly.
Okay, here's one for you. Alley Cat.
Oh yeah, you know.
Alley
that's-
Cat, hell yeah.
And I think I showed you, it's like someone's either released or releasing a remake.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Alley Cat. That was written in assembler, that one. But it kind of got me thinking about like the kind of games that I play these days where I consider like low quality. And in the context of the kind of games I played, which were like just the norm back in that era. And I kind of feel like the quality of the games of the game days back in the era were all just a bit shit. But it was just there was less. And so I
Didn't have Game Pass.
we are so spoiled for amazing games now. And there was like, you know, like there was every now and then there was a lot of like, there was
The
a lot
bar
of good
has
games.
very
right?
much shifted.
But, you know, whenever I play like Dark Ages, I never even remembers Dark Ages.
Oh, I remember
Like,
it.
I played it and I liked it. And I don't think it was a good game. Like when I look back at it, it's just that there wasn't that much.
No.
And we just took what I could get.
Best of a bad bunch.
And now there's so much. And there's so much good stuff.
It's being handed to you on a silver platter.
And there's so much good stuff that people consider even good games shit now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of colours.
There's a lot
Holy
of colours,
shit.
Yeah. Good old Alley Cat.
Oh, because I don't know who owns that at all. Like, I wonder. Oh, that is 100% just Alley Cat. Like, they've just kept all the little mini games.
and the thing is, it also made me realize that Alley Cat was supposed to be played multiplayer.
Yeah,
No matter it was so boring to play by
Yeah.
One
myself.
person.
Yeah, that is a very faithful remake of Alley Cat.
Yeah. If you've never played Alley Cat, you've never lived.
I really hope that
Also,
there's-
you're under 30.
I really hope there's no way to quit.
Hey. It doesn't mean that people under 30 can't have played it,
Oh,
Sam.
when are we getting our remake of Bouncing Babies?
Oof.
Oh, gosh. I mean, well, basically, that was Earthworm Jim 2.
Oh, was
Yeah. Oh, just an Elevator
Yeah.
remake. The best thing about Elevator, it was just timed to CPU. It's just tied to the CPU time. So
Oh, yeah.
It became unplayable by the
Yeah.
time 486s came out because it was so blazingly
Yeah.
fast. Even if you hit that turbo button, couldn't get slow enough. Beautiful things. Okay, so does it now become the VR show?
Well, first, that has just reminded me,
yeah.
for the one person who probably cares that already knows about it, we do have some tiny bit of news on Mugenics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mugenics.
It's still in development.
Uh-huh.
Remember,
Slated
you take a
for
cat, rub it
Never
on the
get another
cat,
cat.
then the cat gets real
Not
fat.
anymore.
Oh, shit.
Because it's now a turn-based cat strategy game.
Oh, good.
That still has all the core systems he wanted originally, but he's pivoted slightly on the mechanics.
So
of
he's
that.
worked out how to
But he
make it
also
a
hasn't
game.
said enough about what that even means.
Yeah.
Mm.
But instead of just being a cat breeding simulator, it is now being turned into a game
Into the breach of cat
with
breeding
turn-based
simulators.
decisions. I feel like he's made this choice after Legend of Bumber has done well enough, and he's maybe learned some things about turn-based games.
Has Legend of Bumber come out?
Yeah.
Fuck, nobody's spoken about. Oh, speaking of games no one's spoken about, has anyone played Gears of War Tactics?
It's out?
Has anyone heard
Any
anyone say
response?
anything about Gears
Nope.
of War Tactics? Apparently it's
Not a
out.
single
Oh,
thing.
I'll go play it.
Yeah.
Like, I
it's
like those tactics games.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It's like, because I've never, like, it always looked fine, but apparently it
empty.
came out.
No
I have
news.
not heard a single piece of news about it.
Oh. Yeah, they should market that.
Yeah.
Apparently not, I guess.
Yeah, unless I've been misinformed, but I
Dunno.
was like, oh shit.
Okay.
I just was excited by Plague Tale Innocence and got on.
Mm.
Okay, so time for the VR show.
Oh, before that, did we want to finish off your tiny little bit
That
of...
was pretty much it.
No,
Oh no, you had one of
yeah,
the.
your tiny bit of...
I played the prologue of Warcraft 3 Reforged today.
Yeah.
'cause
Is
came
it
out
Warcraft 3 with
this
different
morning.
graphics?
Yeah, pretty much.
Woo!
All I will say is that considering that the in-game cinematics are not remastered. They are only upscaled, which we already knew.
Okay.
They've upscaled the old cinematics.
How does the
They look
upscaling
damn
work?
good.
Okay.
Like they hold up
Okay.
very well for a game this old.
And I kind of imagine with the level of detail in that stuff, the upscaling wouldn't be too.
No,
'Cause
yeah.
yeah,
They were already good for their time because they were,
Yeah, like they were good,
Blizzard cinematics.
but they're not like they're not super hyper textured.
No,
So that if
the
you
style,
upscale that,
it works nicely.
yeah,
for
it's
the
nice style, but yeah.
But yeah, it is.
Does it
Warcraft
still
3 with new graphics?
look like that the units were outsourced to some
to the Battle Realms team.
like asset creator? Like it always like at least like ages ago when I saw the art assets for the game, they did not look like they fit in.
They fit a bit better now, I think.
They've improved it a bit.
Now it's a whole package.
It reminded me of like that Raid mobile game.
Yeah,
Those characters.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
it's better than that
Okay,
now.
all right.
Yeah. But yeah, it is pretty much just it's more Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
And it feels very weird playing it on a 2K monitor when it's the same zoom level that it always was. I have extra bits on the side. That's about it.
Yeah. That is actually one of the things, that the difference of size and what we're used to in scale and everything. And if you do change it too much, it does change what the game is.
And well, the other thing is because their big thing is that this still plays with classic.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They can't change the
Yeah.
viewport.
Don't know
it's
why they did
balanced.
that.
Like,
It doesn't seem like
just
it's a necessary
feels-
restriction,
just
does
feels
it?
weird.
It feels like
Especially because if you buy the game, I think they give you copies of the old one.
I'm not sure about that.
I thought
They have had a bit of a debacle with the launch today. I
Okay.
know that much. There's been a lot of bugs and issues. There's a lot of people who can't even play the campaign because it just immediately shows the defeat screen.
that seems like a bug.
Yeah. And apparently people have lost access to their classic version. And
Oh,
it
really?
tries to launch Reforged,
Yeah.
even if they don't own Reforged.
Yeah.
When
Okay.
they're trying to launch classic, and so
Strange
there's a lot
bugs
of
that
bugs and
heads.
issues and things that
Mm.
maybe need fixing over the next week or two. But
But Battle Realms is available on
pretty
Steam.
yeah.
So
Is
and
it
it's
getting a
flawless.
remaster?
So, something.
I heard some.
There was some
vague
news about
memory
Battle
of
Realms-y
Battle
stuff.
Realms getting a remaster.
Okay, time for the VR show. So James and Paul had too
Should
much
I-
money,
should I-
bought
should
some
I-
stupid things.
Oh, I was watching
Should I
it
just-
They
as
shouldn't be
Show
trusted with
show
the
myself
money.
out?
No, you gotta love it. Okay, so
you talk about games, I just sit here and use it.
yeah, we'll try to. Oh yeah, I mean you can do that. You could sit there and watch pornography. We wouldn't even know.
Wow, you might. If I
Um,
started taking off my clothes and
I wouldn't bat an eye.
things and
I mean,
you might notice. Is
I
my
might
point.
bat an eyelash. Okay, so virtual reality stuff. I have been playing a few things. Primarily, James and I did a little bit of multiplayer stuff.
We did.
We got into VRchat, which I still don't know how much
Did
time
you
I
run
spent
around
with
as an anime girl?
Yes, that's how I started. I started as a little anime girl, and James started as some big thing that
And
I
I
can't
ended
remember.
up as a cup of coffee.
Yep. So, well, no, we don't want to jump too fast. on coffee.
Spoilers, James. Spoilers.
So we're starting to work out how we're going around. We've picked a few avatars. They're not particularly interesting. They're just like, okay, whatever. This is the launch thing. Let's go. And we're looking at rooms we can go to. We go, oh, James, let's go here. Drop a portal. We go through, and we turn up in a karaoke room. Now, one of the things we discover is that a lot of things do not work on the Quest version of VRchat. So the karaoke room just has a big screen at the end saying like, video not supported in VR in Oculus yet. If you want to use this, use a link cable and do it from a computer. But that didn't mean that we couldn't communicate or hear the other people in the room.
It was amazing.
So we're in this room with no music playing, and Jack Skellington is sitting at a table. At another table, there is a coffee cup sitting underneath the chair because he's scaled very small. This woman, and we didn't understand that we couldn't see all the avatars at this point, so this woman is just a floating robot, comes up and she had a pitch shifter on her voice. So she goes up to Jack Skellington and she's like, here's your microphone. Hey, you have a good time. Jack takes the microphone and is just, well, I'm actually not going to hold it because it hurts my hand after a while. So I'm just going to put it down here on the table. At this point, everyone starts singing Backstreet's Back. But of course, again, with no music. Yeah. So it's just like, it's mainly Jack Skellington. And then when it gets to the chorus, all of us just join in. But with all the slight delays from everyone's connection and everything, we're just in this weird surreal space of like no video playing, Jack Skellington there, coffee cup just hanging out under the table, floating weird woman with that, hey, take the microphone, Backstreet's Back. like, this game's fucking amazing. And at that point, we started going like, okay, James wants to be the cup of coffee. So like, okay, how do we do that? And like, okay, well, we can see who made it, and we can see
their
what levels he
world,
made.
yeah.
So we went and found that, and we just started playing with avatars until we died in real life.
Yeah.
I have some amazing avatars to show you later, man, that I found after you left.
Fantastic.
They are
Everything
insane.
I've seen about VRchat is just, it is the best thing to have ever happened to the world of role playing, like the Second Life people.
Well, it's not-
that whole. It's not. I know it's not.
It's too curated to
but,
be Second Life.
It is very much one of the better
Yeah.
things to happen
Yeah.
to that type of community, and it is one of the best arguments for Ready Player One's Oasis. Because if that's what it ends up being, yes,
It's what we joined up this murder mystery
sign me
game.
up to that nonsense.
We kept
And it was like, oh, stand on a circle to get to the game. And we would go stand on a circle, and everyone else would do it. And then the game would start. They'd all disappear, and James and I would just be standing in the room still.
See, I have a feeling that because we were in party chat, we were breaking a lot of things.
Yeah, we broke up.
Ah,
But also,
yeah.
I think a lot of things aren't necessarily supported on Quest. And that's not always signposted. But we just sat there for a few minutes as piles upon piles of people would swarm in, stand on the things, disappear.
Yeah, and then-
we would just be standing there like,
Why don't we get the game?
why? And at that point, because we were in party chat, which we didn't realize stopped people hearing our microphones. So James is trying to talk to me. He was like, "Excuse me, do you know if we're doing anything wrong? Hello, sir. Hello." Disappears on us again.
So I would like to see the other side of all this. Of these two mute weirdos
Just standing there. People
not
walking
doing
up.
things.
I know it wasn't that. It was in Rec Room, and some kid comes up to us and goes, "Can I communicate with you?" Like, no. They just just shaking their head and running around.
Though he did come up to me and say, "Would you like a gun?"
Yeah, but he just found that on the floor. He
Yeah.
didn't do anything special.
Rec Room. Have you played Rec Room?
Yeah.
It's a weird experience.
It's odd, isn't it? Yeah.
I think because it's like a window into kids and what they do. I felt a little creepy being there, but it was really
All those people were over 40.
yeah.
Guaranteed.
But it's just like watching, like, there was one kid who was talking about how much in-game money he's got and saying, like, look at my, like, just showing off, like bragging about his weird
It's
skin
a
that he
window
had.
into a world that you don't really
like,
ever see or know exists.
I found it fascinating. It was like a wildlife documentary or something like that. But I don't think Rec Room was something I'd end up playing much of.
Well, no, the problem was we've never gone into one of the games.
Oh.
Rec Room's got games
got some
you
real
play.
good- yeah. there's some
'cause
solid games
But
there.
what I want is I want to explore crazy worlds more than I want
Which
to
is more VR
play-
chat.
Yeah, which is more VR chat kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Rec Room is you go there and play games with
Yeah.
people, which we never did because we could never get you talking to other people. Your
No,
voice just
this is
disappeared.
one of the things I found with the Quest is if you are in party chat, like we mentioned, it mutes you from other
mutes
game
you,
chat.
yeah,
And even if you're the only person in that party,
Okay,
you'll
so
be
you have to,
muted.
like-
Because Paul and I were trying to play, and I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, because
I
I
couldn't
was like,
say
oh, this is
anything.
why
You
I
left
left
the
the
party
chat.
chat,
Yeah.
he's
But he was still
he's
in
still
the
in
chat.
the
Like,
group.
no one
I was
there,
still
yeah.
in the chat, and even after resetting the device twice, I was still in that chat.
Right.
And it was only when I finally figured out, like, oh, I'm gonna leave. But then we've been trying for like half an hour, went up to an hour. I was like, yeah. But I know now.
So on successful multiplayer games, though, we are both in the beta for 11 table tennis,
Oh, yeah.
and it is just
Table tennis.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It is. It's
It's
amazing.
really like it is almost indistinguishable from playing table tennis.
Oh, I honestly almost like dropped my controllers by putting them on the virtual table.
I do remember distinctly when VR was first becoming a thing, me and Elliot both had Vives.
Yeah.
Or I had my Vive and he borrowed one from someone at
Someone,
work, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
And we were playing one of those sports games. It was initially just a pool game, but it turned into like a big sports bar thing. So it was darts and pool and some other random stuff and pinball. But we were playing pool. And it was just like a thing we did. Like it was like, oh, it's a Saturday night. Let's just
Yeah,
go
let's
pool.
hang out.
And he like grabbed it. We both had drinks and stuff. But in the old days of no pass through and all that, and I do distinctly remember there was one time we did it, and we had to stop because Elliot had put his bottle of beer or cider or whatever it was in real life
on the table
on
that
the
didn't
pool
exist.
table in VR.
It is.
and just dropped it.
It is easy to do.
Yeah,
It's
well,
very easy to do.
Now, like, I don't normally use straps, like for like say the like the Wii U. I never used
Yeah.
it. I do
It's a
in
good
VR,
idea with VR, yeah.
because I do forget that it's attached.
That's the one thing I like about the grip controllers with the index is that you can let go because of the way they're
I
strapped
have
to.
seen there are some you can
That's
get for
pretty
the
cool.
for the touch, which actually do give you that strap, so you can. Do it.
Oh, I've actually got like some ones, but they're so annoying to use.
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
nah,
But
put
I
it up.
just go like with that, like that,
It works.
you know, and then I can just drop it. But yeah, I've learned, definitely like put this thing on.
It's too easy to just.
Yeah. Well, I dropped it once,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, let's not
I
do that
dropped a
again.
headset the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd feel bad about that.
It was fine. James, why don't you tell me about this game that I've never heard mentioned before, Asgards?
Oh, that's
Is it good?
Rough.
I've heard it's potentially good.
So yeah, I got myself a link cable.
Yes.
Like that arrived. It works pretty well.
Yeah. The official link channel.
official
The
one.
bloody
The very expensive
fiber
cable.
optic, skinny, 5 meter long,
Yeah.
expensive cable.
Yeah,
Gold plated.
but it does what it says on the tin. Works quite well. And so I wanted, what experiences can I get, that are going to be beyond Old Mate Quest? So I picked up Asgard's Wrath, which I guess is sort of like not quite Skyrim. Like it's that kind of Norse theme, but it tends to be very hub world.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like a big open world to explore, but they're quite big areas which are kind of broken into kind of smaller chunks that you kind of move through, go into dungeons, do some quests. It's got this mechanic in it, which I've seen in a couple of games now, where you have this transition of small to big. So part of the game is you're this god who can possess people, and grant them power. And whenever you possess someone, you kind of walk around. You just sort of use the analog stick to kind of move. It doesn't have teleportation, which I kind of understand why, because part of the game is like moving through traps and things. If you had teleportation, that wouldn't really work. But it kind of works against it for me because I don't really like locomotion.
You do it like VRchat style, which is because you played VRchat.
I'd have
yeah.
on the Vive.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
the push forward and you see your character walk there, and then you teleport.
Yeah,
to where
that
they
would
can-
actually
It's a
sound
nice
pretty
way of
good
doing it,
if they
yeah.
did something like that. But you can basically go between like a god view where you have like you're looking down at the diorama and you can like pick some things up. And things like
They
that.
had that demo that comes with the quest of that game with a similar
Yeah,
concept,
that's
which
similar thing.
wasn't great.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got that. It's like I like that it's not a big world because I don't think I actually really want to play a big open world like Skyrim, because I don't like moving that much. But I've still found that kind of experience hasn't really been for me the kind of what I want out of VR. Well, like what I'm finding that I enjoy out of VR. But if you are someone that does want a kind of meatier experience, and that's fine. And I kind of I briefly touched on the comparison to like Pistol Whip to Asgards earlier, and I just find that as soon as I've got movement, I'm very aware that I'm in VR, and I no longer feel like I'm in the world. I feel like I'm like the movement of hold down forward to move forward, but then like when you rotate the stick, you snap. Like I don't feel like I'm there. Like I feel like, and I've had the same problem with No Man's Sky. If I tried to use I was okay with teleport, but there's one where you can actually walk, and I just end up feeling like I'm just like fighting this thing. I don't feel like I'm moving through naturally, and maybe with enough time, I'd get better at it, but I don't know.
I mean, I do find I become more. Well, I don't get nauseous about it, but I don't necessarily feel it. Like it doesn't feel like I'm there.
It's not
It's
immersive, but you do train your brain to get used to it.
Yeah.
I want to be able to walk around a few meters. I like that. I like being in that space. And like Pistol Whip, like you keep saying, like not movement, but Pistol Whip, you move a lot.
Yeah.
Your body moves a lot. It's one of the things that's really good about it. Out of all the beat games, probably moves the whole body the most. So like you want that level movement, but as soon as you're traversing, it's really hard to sell.
Yeah,
it.
I think that is probably one of the key things that VR has yet to solve.
Yeah.
I don't know if they solve it.
From like a design philosophy too. Like there is no one standard that's come out on top.
Yeah.
They've all got their flaws.
I mean, teleportation seems to be
the norm for most things.
and so far it's probably the one.
But it's also the one that means you have to make a lot of other
Yeah.
allowances with.
I think at least like with teleportation, I'm at least focused on I want to go to the table.
Yeah.
And it becomes I make the thing a snap. and that movement I can then just sort of background in my head. Like I don't
It's,
feel like
it's the equivalent to like being in a dream where you just close your eyes and
because
open them
like
somewhere else.
for me, like if I want to be at the, at a desk or at a door, I don't have to walk there. Like
No,
I
just
don't
do it.
mind just like I can
It's
effectively
unthinking.
blink. Like I'm just gonna get there.
What it does is it stops all the game genres, which is a lot of game genres, which are based around movement as a primary mechanic. So the way, like, and also anything that's based in some sort of reality that you've created, you have to then construct why this exists in there, and that gets pretty difficult. Like, it's hard to make Max Payne teleporting.
Yeah. Honestly, I think VRchat probably is one of the
It's
the
a good-
best,
it's a really good
actually
solution.
the best
Yeah.
one. Mate, that like I guess like
Third person and
the
then
brief
teleport.
detachment of like shifting to the third person from the first person actually feels pretty natural.
Yeah.
And I guess that's falling back on traditional game controls. Like I understand the idea of a joystick to move a thing. I get that. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm there. All right, I can choose when to project myself back into it.
And weirdly, it can sort of, because one of the things that I've always preferred about third person over first person is that in first person you actually lose situational awareness that you do have in real life. So if you're just running along in something like a VR chat movement where you push forward and you're seeing the third person camera going forward, the character in third person going forward, and like an enemy runs up behind you. Well, when you were moving, you didn't need to do any action. But now it's time to turn around and shoot. And you're like, I know an enemy's running up behind me. So you flash forward into that position and turn around and shoot. So you get that situational awareness around you. So I think you could actually do an action game in that sort of style. And it's sort of like, when it comes time to perform actions, that's when you stop. And especially for things that are like cover-based mechanics and multiplayer stuff like that, it's like, I'm a VR Gears of War game, and when I'm shooting, I'm in cover, and when I'm doing roadie run, I'm doing that in third person. Like, roadie running over there, and off I go, because I don't shoot when I do that.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised I haven't seen more of the VR chat implementation. Like I've seen stuff with the ball, like the ball that moves out, but I haven't seen that much of just. He's a character. Run around, and I get that.
The other one is you might have seen it. I linked it into the chat. The guy that made Space Pirate Trainer is currently working on a project which we'll see if it has the light of day or not. That the demonstration is 2 people in like a warehouse-sized space, and they can see each other. And in the in-game representation, it tries to map the whole body. So you just 2 avatars standing in a warehouse, and then you hit go, and the deathmatch level drops in around you. So you have full on, as big as that space is, wall. Like, sure, if you really want to break the illusion, you can just run through those walls like a jerk.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because obviously it can track the other person easily because there is no break in the line of sight in reality. But in virtual reality, you can have all sorts of things. So it's like doing the zero latency stuff, but at a home level, which is very cool. But we'll see if they can actually make that a commercial product or not. VR's cool.
It is.
So Asgards. One of the things that surprised me is while yes, it does look very good. Honestly, this little bad boy does pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the PC does look better. I don't think it's leaps and bounds. I just compared to the kind of stuff I get out of the Quest. Like, I don't know, it's pretty good.
I think most of the visual satisfaction comes from the 3D and your existence in the space. Turning up the fidelity a little bit doesn't really matter much. Like we are sold on realities that are completely abstracted shit. Like, this is a badly modeled tree, but I'm convinced it's a real tree because it's
3D. It looks real.
Yeah, it exists in a space that I am inhabiting. I don't care if it's 3 polygons.
So I found when messing around with the Vive back when I first had it, and, even back when because I got the Oculus dev kit too, messing around back in those days.
I've still got a DK one sitting around somewhere.
Some of the more immersive spaces were the ones that weren't trying to look real, because they could kind of
they
weren't trying to break that barrier of being realistic, but it was the immersion that mattered.
It's like Pistol Whip is the one that's been most successful for me so far, and that's just
and I was interested because you were asking me about it, and you weren't really sold on wanting to try it because you thought it looked. You didn't think it looked.
I didn't like the visuals. In screenshots, I just thought it looked.
That's the other problem VR has too. It's very hard to represent it to someone.
And all I said to you is that I think you'll feel differently when you play it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really actually asked you about it since you've played it.
Well, I also think Pistol Whip is a game that works wireless really well. Because I've got because it's crossbuy. It's one of the crossbuy products. It's pistol whip. So I tried it with tethered with Link, and then I tried it without. I didn't notice any visual difference. It looked the same.
It looked pretty much
ran
the same.
slightly better on the Quest because it was just all running there.
Yeah.
Fuck, I lost the train of thought. I'm saying something.
I
like
think
pistol whip.
Plays better on that.
Yeah, not having the cable.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I think having the tether, until you get really, really confident with a tether,
You're
it stops.
constantly worried about breaking it. I
Yeah,
reckon.
conscious
Well,
that you're on
it's
something.
always there. Like
Yeah.
you got to think like
You know it's there.
like when I'm walking, especially with the Quest where you can make a fairly big space pretty easily. And I do want to walk around it.
And I found out there's a limit.
Oh.
Because I took it to a hall and tried to map the whole hall, and they're like, nah, 25 by 25 is the most you
It's a
can do.
solid limit, though.
Pretty big.
25 feet, but
Oh,
25 by
okay.
25 foot.
Still
That's
pretty
still-
good.
But that's only basically, that's a soft limit. There, people that are developing just go, no, you can take that away and make it as big as you want.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to do the whole hall because I was trying that God in a Teacup or whatever demo, which
Oh, yeah, I
tries
haven't
to make
tried that
like
one
an
yet,
infinite
yeah.
walking space. When you do it in a 1 by 1 meter square thing versus a 25 by 25 foot thing, it's a very different game.
Yeah.
And the other one, you just walk in a circle the whole time. Anyway, yeah, pistol whip.
Yeah. But yeah, not having the cable. Actually, like I think especially any game where there's a lot of mobility in pistol whip, you're constantly jumping around and ducking out of the way of things.
Do you ever want to see a video of yourself playing pistol whip?
I do. Cheryl saw me last night and just said, "You look weird," but I felt like a badass. I think
That's what matters.
Yeah, I think one of the awesome things about pistol whip is, you're getting shot at by things, but your hitbox is super tiny. Like it's not hard.
It's really just the head.
It's just the head. So it's like you can just like whoa, 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 whoa. And so you constantly feel like you're just like matrixing through everything.
I was really disappointed the other day. Lisa took a video of me and sent it to her family of me playing VR, and I saw the video. I'm like, oh no, that was the boring part of the song. Oh, no, I just above all these bombs. I'm just like tinkling. And no, you wanted. I was doing some real cool stuff in other parts. I bet I looked great then.
No, you didn't. Nope. No, you didn't.
You do feel like a real bat, and especially Pistol Whip. It's basically a John Wick simulator.
Yeah.
It's like because do you play just the single gun, or do you turn on dual guns?
You can have two guns?
Yeah, it's just a modifier on
You've
the
just
side.
changed his world.
Yeah.
No, I just go, I like just the... Because
Yeah,
I have
just-
one
just-
controller and I just hold it. Just like
Hold it like a
I
gun.
do that. That's
Oh,
what I
and
do.
you feel so serious.
Yeah.
I go. Speaking of music and shooting, though, today Audica came out,
Yep.
which is Harmonix's new game. I mean, it's already been available, but it's now natively on the Quest, which is why I got it. Have you played much Audica yet?
On PC I have, not on
Well,
Quest
it's not going to
yet.
be too
Yeah.
different with that. So far, my impression is I'm really disappointed with the visual style compared to Pistol Whip and Beat Saber. It is nothing. It's just like one environment and there's no lighting or anything. It's interesting.
There's a game mode you can set to turn off telegraphs.
Uh-huh.
I found it easier to play.
Oh, interesting.
Just there's less going on.
Okay, well, I mean, I didn't find that much going on with it anyway, but I've only played like 4 or 5
Yeah.
songs so far. But playing wise, it's still very fun.
Yeah.
Still very fun. But I suppose the other thing that's disappointing is that it's not a cheap game; it's a full price game. And then there's already like 4 DLC packs available, and those are all full of like known songs. And the base game has it's got DJs that I guess are like Dead Mouse is there, and that's the most notable person, which for me is still not of note. It's like, oh, I wanted some like songs, not just
There's,
not just this.
Oh, there is a Dragon Force song in there.
Yeah, I got over Dragon Force about 15 years ago, but not to say Dragon Force sucks or anything.
But at
I'm
least
just-
it's like
I'm
it's
just
not
done.
it's not EDM.
Well, most of it is. But there's lots of songs that are available that aren't EDM. I just have to buy them.
Yeah.
Like, boo! Mix that up in the bass soundtrack a little bit if you're going to do that.
I still haven't got the mechanic that well yet. I think like something like Beat Saber is a bit more intuitive.
Yeah. I mean, it's a harder game.
It's definitely like you have to be accurate. Like it's
You don't have to be that accurate. So one of the things it's a shooting game where targets come and it does sort of the Elite Beat Agent style thing where there's a closing circle, and when the target hits the circle that's closing, that's when you're supposed to hit. So it's relatively readable. And then there's a few other things like diamond ones you have to hold
gotta hold it,
on.
and somewhere you
there's
have to,
one
like,
that the
draw an
chain,
arc,
so it's like
yeah.
you click on the end and then you pull the whip up along with it, and that's kind of cool. So it is about shooting, but it's got quite a lot of auto aim assist on it. So one of the games had a modifier that gave me invisible guns, so I couldn't even like see the guns. But it didn't really matter much because when you're pointing at a target, even before the target reaches there, it'll go click, it'll vibrate.
I haven't noticed the vibration.
So it shows that you're there, and it also puts a circle around what you're focusing on. So as long as you don't move your hand away, you will hit it. Now accuracy still matters, and there's like it tracks all your accuracy. It shows that at the end, so you can get more points if you're really accurate. But it also is quite forgiving in what you're doing in that, so you can shoot multiple things at once and be quite confident about it. Because that, and you now you'll pay attention.
Now,
to it
yeah, that probably will make it easier. Yeah,
because when you go up and then you feel a little click, it's like I won't move.
Because the way I was playing was more like shoot.
You do it without
shoot.
actually.
Like I was trying
visually aiming.
I was trying to shoot like not draw the aim then fire.
Yeah.
I was trying to fire yeah. So I imagine if it's more point and then click.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of thing. So yeah.
Also, I did find very quickly that having a game where you're just out the whole time like that with two guns really started getting my arms quite quickly. They actually had a notice just like, oh, when you're not firing, pull your arms back like that to give them a rest. I'm like, well, actually, it's pretty good advice. So yeah, I wish it was slicker because I kind of expect the presentation feels like for something that's now a release, the GUI felt kind of like just a placeholder to me.
I felt like the arena was very like it doesn't change.
No.
And I think coming off the back of Pistol Whip, where like every time I played it, it's like it's at least mixing up the color. Like I'm doing very similar things, but like visually it looks very different.
And you go Beat Saber, and once you start getting into the custom stuff, the amount of like lighting effects and stuff you can do in that
Some
game,
of those tracks are nuts.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's very minimal.
At least in Audica so far, it feels like the patterns are different.
Yeah, but
the arena feels very samey.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if it'll be something that they'll keep working on, or it's something that'll be more of an Audica 2 thing. I feel because like harmonics are normally in games for the long run, so I just hope they just improve it, a little, like make it a little bit slicker, because it really kind of feels like the targets are very flat. It's like point blank style targets moving towards you. I want some crazy sci-fi targets, thanks.
Who has the IP for Point Blank?
Is it
And
Namco?
why is there not a VR version?
Good question.
Good fucking question.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
It's like the perfect game for VR.
Yeah. Yes.
Or
it
just
is.
any light gun game.
It actually is. So light gun games all disappeared once LCD screens became
because they weren't usable.
Because they don't work anymore. But VR,
well, we have VR now.
We have them back.
It's light gun game central.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where's VR House of the Dead? What if that was a PS5 launch title? Oh, I'd be in on that. Anyway, yeah, VR's cool. Are there any VR games we haven't mentioned? I think we got most. Oh, I was playing some virtual reality. I haven't finished it. It feels pretty good. So it's basically a future of robots taking the world. You're a human and you get to help out AIs do their things that they want to do. So you just it's a reason to just teleport into weird environments and have weird conversations and do funny things. And of course, there's something else going on below the surface that you're trying to break out of.
There always is.
Because there always is, yeah. So far, finding that, but I haven't finished it. It feels, in line with... I like it more than like Accounting Plus, which I was a bit underwhelmed by. So this is getting closer to something on the Stanley Parable side, but I mean, that's a high watermark to reach. Yeah. So it's good, but yeah, still, man. That Stanley... I wonder how that Stanley Parable like special edition is going, because that was supposed to be out last year and got delayed. I'm like, what else can you be doing? It's
what else can you add?
It didn't have many. Yeah.
I finally got my achievement on it too.
Oh, they don't play for 5 years.
It for however long.
Yeah.
Was it 5 years? Is it?
It was
long.
I
think so.
I think it was like. It must have been longer than 5.
Don't know.
I think it was longer.
I mean,
than
I
5.
just said the number.
It was many years.
Maybe it was 7
It was a long time.
Yeah. Don't play the game for this long. Yeah. I don't know if I got it. I might have played it.
Well, now I'm not going to play it.
It's like, I just got to get it and just try it one more time. See if it's still funny.
Something reminded me about it. I'm like, I should go look. I'm like, hey, I could launch it and get this achievement. Yes.
I still really want to do like a show or series or something where I get I've got a few like friends in like like academia, sort of on the literacy side, that are not interested in games, and I want to play through Parable and then Beginner's Guide.
Beginner's Guide is fantastic.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see them touching that area of games and what thoughts are on that. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like as much as I do love Parable, I'd probably give it to Beginner's Guide. I think as it touches
Well, I mean, they're going for something genuine.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, as far as like talking about the creative process and like it's something a bit special.
I mean, Stanley Parable is a joke game.
Yeah, and it's a
And
very good joke. It's a
joke
very
game.
good joke game. But beginner's guide, because it's free, isn't it?
No, I don't remember. I
Beginner's
don't believe
Guide.
so. I'm
Oh,
pretty
okay.
sure it's a paid product.
Oh.
It's paid.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it's worth it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yes, because when the duo split and one went off and was making the curious case of the whatever.
Yeah, the weird tiger
weird
thing.
tiger
The
thing,
tiger one.
and then
Yeah, I remember that one.
versus as because sometimes I meet people that think the other way around and hated Beginner's Guide and love that. I'm like, nah, I know what camp I'm in.
Yeah.
But I think they're both talented people. But someone needs to rein in. I need both. You need both the wacky and yeah. Anyway, that seems like time to end the show to me, Mr. Old Paul. I suppose we'll probably be getting back to a regular schedule of some sort.
Back to normal.
Yeah, whatever normal for us is.
We no longer have a crazy March coming up, which is always nice.
Yeah, March is a bit empty.
Well, we've got Journey to the
Some good.
Journey to the Strange Planet. We'll try to play that for next one.
because that's got co-op, doesn't it?
It does.
So we'll play some of that.
Probably. Maybe. I mean, don't make promises on checks we can't cash. We have many co-op games that we've planned to play for a long time.
Yeah, it's true.
Like Control was one of them.
Well, that wasn't co-op.
Well, no, but you were trying to
Trying
play
to
it
do that.
Yeah.
cooperatively.
And we've had one entire session of Remnant from the Ashes.
Yeah.
One
You did
day
well.
on that. I have approximately 700 co-op only games that I have never launched because
that was the one we were talking about the other time, the room one, the co-op puzzle game.
The one that I was mentioning.
the real
I
estate.
finished that now
Yeah.
with Elliot.
This the real estate one.
No.
The We Were Here
We Were Here
series.
Oh, we were here.
Yeah,
oh, yes.
We need to play that.
Yeah, I even have it
I
all
finished the third one
downloaded,
with
ready to go.
Elliot.
Yeah.
Was it good?
It was. Yeah, it was very enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's all
We
do
probably
that.
should do that one first. Anyway.
Thank you for watching or listening to 8.5 Bit. It's a website and all that jazz. Join a Discord if you want to chat to us and just be a bum and a nerd and enjoy things. And sorry if you don't like VR. And if you do like VR, I hope you enjoy the VR stuff we're talking about. It'll probably happen a lot more from now on, probably, because it is.
It's exciting and new to me.
Especially when I get one as well.
Yeah, it is.
Possibly
Well,
this month.
Like when I showed it, because I took it to Australia Day party, and a lot of people there had not done any VR.
God, I love that.
And when they
I
left out,
love popping a VR cherry. Oh, it's so good.
the response from everyone was, "How much is it?"
Yeah.
What?
And like they're gamers, so they're not like, but it's
Yeah.
they went from not really interested in VR to like, oh, that actually is pretty.
I love showing it to non-gamers. Like that's the best part. And just seeing like where like I took it into work, and where I work there's a lot of open space. So I just made a giant guardian area.
Yeah.
And giving it to people, and they were scared to walk into it because like it's a wall. But just watching like that's how, and what really impresses me, especially at a game like First Contact, like that, like basically tutorial experience for the Quest. Just how quickly people, non-gamers, pick it up.
Yeah.
Like I gave it to some of Cheryl's family, some of her older uncles, and like put it on them and go, all right, like here's load up this First Contact thing. Like these are not people who even know how to use a traditional controller.
But I think we made the point before. Traditional controls are actually incredibly complex.
Yeah.
Using a modern twin stick controller setup requires you to understand the layout and how all the buttons work. While this primarily
Is
your body
which
is the
one's
primary
square
controller.
again?
Yeah, exactly. It's like your body is a controller. You have a trigger finger, you have a grip, and you don't really use any other buttons.
Yeah, in
You're not
VR,
learning to use a symbol that is a button.
Yeah.
You're just learning to use which finger you're
I
paying
think,
to use.
I've noticed in VR games, I very rarely use the face buttons or the joystick.
Normally they're to access menus and
Yeah,
stuff.
like joystick probably a little bit more than the face buttons, but the face buttons just don't use them very often. It's really mainly the interaction and the grabbing. And,
I think it's by clear design with
yeah.
it. Anyway, I've been your host, Paul.
I've been James.
I've been Sam.
We'll catch you all later, folks. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.